Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. And that old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Being your family's grocery store isn't just about having the best butcher cut meat or the freshest produce. It's not about having the highest quality online shopping or experts who handpick your groceries. And it's not just about giving you the most affordable prices. Being your family's grocery store means making sure that you have all of that. And that's why at Fairway Meat and Grocery, it's what we've always been about.
When you choose Delta Dental of Iowa, you set a chain of good in motion because we invest in your community. So whether you get your plan at work or purchase it through us, you get more than great dental and vision insurance. You make a difference for others. Choose Delta Dental for your smile, for your health, and for your community.
In Iowa, we all play by the same rules. Hard work pays off, practice makes perfect, success is something you earn, and teamwork helps us all be winners. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics. Because on our team and on yours, what we bring to the table is what brings us all together. Learn more about our commitment to Iowa at iowapork.org.
Slade's the place for you! We'd like to welcome you to this year's Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament in Fort Dodge, Iowa. We hope you've enjoyed the action today, and we're here today with Farm Bureau President Brent Johnson. And we're actually visiting Brent at his farm just outside of Manson, Iowa. We are so thankful for all those who support us to help put on this great event, none of which are more important than Iowa Farm Bureau, our proud title sponsor. Why does Iowa Farm Bureau invest in Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union?
The Iowa Farm Bureau is proud to be the title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, and we're also thrilled to be a part of this year's Girls State Softball Tournament. This tournament not only showcases Iowa's elite teams, but the athletes competing here today are among the nation's best and brightest, and our farmers are among the nation's most productive. Our partnership with the Girls Union gives us the opportunity to honor both while supporting and uplifting the Iowa girls.
Why has the Iowa Farm Bureau invested so much in support of the Iowa girl and all of Iowa's youth across this nation?
Well, we at Farm Bureau believe in championing Iowa's youth. After all, one day they will be our state's future leaders. The Iowa Farm Bureau Scholarship Program, we've given over $500,000 every year to kids across the state. We've also teamed up with the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union to sponsor concussion insurance at no cost to those athletes or their families so that they can continue to compete at a high level. We've also provided teachers over the last 8 years with over $450,000 so that they can properly equip their classrooms. And most recently, we've gifted $1 million to the FFA Foundation for their efforts to increase agriculture awareness and support their chapters across the state.
The student athletes participating in this year's tournament are taking home some great souvenirs.
The signature ball program, a memento that they can take with them so someday they can look back on their experiences here and know that the effort that they put in has really paid off, and really congratulate all those students that are competing here at this year's tournament.
Thank you, Brent, and thank you, Iowa Farm Bureau. Now let's get back to playing ball.
It's a great day for softball here in Fort Dodge, Iowa. My name is Eric Zamora. Blake Walker will be our color commentator for this afternoon's semifinal game. We are in Class 4A, is the first of two back-to-back semifinals, and it will be the 7-seed Winterset Huskies taking on the 3-seed Fort Dodge Dodgers. We want to once again thank Iowa Farm Bureau for presenting the Girls State Softball Tournament. We're here on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company. In just a moment, we will take a look at, or a listen rather, to the introduction of the players. But before we do that, we'd like to quickly take a look at how we got to this point for the Winterset Huskies. Defeated Creston 6-3 and then Indianola 6-0 in the regional tournament. They were victorious over the 2-seed Carlisle 11-5 in a rivalry game on Monday that I had the opportunity to call. For Fort Dodge, 1-0. They slipped past Spencer and then knocked off Dallas Center Grimes by a score of 3-1. Actually, the most leeway they've had in a game so far came here at the state tournament on Monday. They defeated the 6-seed ADM by a score of 8-3. It looks like our public address announcer is ready, so we'll hand things over, and then we'll come back and talk about the starting lineups and get into the call of this morning's game.
That is wrong.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rogers Sports Complex. In this Class 4A semifinal game between the Winterset Huskies and the Fort Dodge Dodgers. The winner of this game will advance to the championship on Thursday on Riverside Field at 7:30. Now, let's meet the non-starters and assistant coaches for the visitors from Winterset. Number 5, Macy Olsen. Number 7, Allie Holming. Number 9, Natalie Smith. Number 13, Addison Gross. Number 15, Allie Sarber. Number 21, Michaela Nichols. Number 24, Summer Little. Number 26, Ashley Johnson. Number 28, Kylie Nelson. Number 30, Kristen Sadlock. Number 35, Zoe Pope. The assistant coaches for Winterset: Jennifer Devine, Matthew Williams, Taylor Finchot, and Anita Smith. Now let's meet the starters for the Huskies. Leading off, a senior playing left field, number 2, Avery Darling. Batting second, an 8th grader playing second base, number 10, McKenna Olmstead. Batting third, a senior, the DP, number 4, Jenna Young. Batting fourth, a sophomore playing first base, number 18, Fran Acton. Batting fifth, a sophomore, the shortstop, number 12, Neela Applegate. Batting sixth, a junior, the pitcher, number 25, Molly Breen. Batting seventh, a senior, the third baseman, number 14, Bailey Acton. Batting eighth, a junior, the catcher, number 31, Harley Akers. Batting ninth, a sophomore, the right fielder, number 1, Ashlyn Devine. And the flex player, a sophomore in center field, number 48, Maya Atkins. Head coach for the Winterset Huskies, Steve Corcoran. And now let's meet the non-starters and assistant coaches for the Dodgers. Number 3, Karen Rippentrop. Number 9, Melina Meyer. Number 10, Katie Mason. Number 12, Madison Oshaw. Number 13, Ava Wessel. Number 15, Cameron Goji. Number 16, Callie Zimmerman. Number 17, Naomi Alexander. The assistant coaches, Aaron Miller, Tom Lyman, Nick Vincent, and Gordon Newman. Now let's meet the starters for Fort Dodge. Leading off, a sophomore, third baseman number 2, Mia McCaleb. Batting second, a senior, the center fielder number 14, Maggie Elsbecker. Batting third, an 8th grader, the shortstop, number 1, Hope Alstott. Batting fourth, a junior, the DT, number 6, Kenzie Matharat. Batting fifth, a sophomore, the left fielder, number 19, Hayden Tooney. Batting sixth, a senior, the right fielder, number 8, Lydia Lara. Batting seventh, a junior, the first baseman, number 5, Macy Brown. Batting eighth, an 8th grader, the catcher, number 11, Ellie Duster. Batting ninth, a sophomore, the second baseman, number 4, Ashlyn Will. And the flex, a sophomore, the pitcher, number 7, Lucy Porter. Head coach for the Fort Dodge Dodgers is Andy Adams. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the area in front of home plate for the introduction of our umpires. At third base, Paul Bird. At first base, Tom Sullivan. And calling the ball to strike, J.D. Hugatrat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for state semifinals.
And we are just about set to get underway with the opening pitch. The Fort Dodge Dodgers, the home team as the 3 seed, and that's apropos as their 2 games so far. They've been considered the home team with the home field advantage as they play at a field just to our left for their home games. They will go with Lucy Porter pitching. Porter, a sophomore. And the stats I have coming in are prior to Monday's game, but 167 and a third innings pitch, an ERA of 1.59, 181 Ks, and a 19-8 record now, 20-8 on the season. She is the one player out there for the Dodgers that will not be in the batting order. She is going to be caught by Elle Doster, right to left the infield. Macy Brown, Ashlyn Wills, Hope Alstott, and Maya McCaleb. The outfield from left to right, Cadence Tooney, Maggie Elsbecker, and Lydia Lara. Andy Adams, the head coach of the Dodgers, Aaron Miller, Tom McClyman, Nick Vincent, and Jordan Newman, the ACs. And they have a record of 32-9. Kenzie McElrath is the designated player for the Dodgers. For Winterset, they'll go with a batting lineup of senior Avery Darling in left field, leading things off. McKenna Olson, just an 8th grader, playing second, and Jenna Young, the senior DP. Then the middle portion of the lineup, Bryn Acton, Neela Applegate, and Molly Breeding. Bailey Acton, Carly Akers, and Ashlyn Devine in the lineup. Maya Adkins is the center fielder, but is being hit for by Jenna Young. And really, if you watched or tuned into Monday's game, Winterset going with the exact same defensive formation, and the batting order, the only switch, they move Breeding up to 6 and Bailey Acton back to 7. Otherwise, it is rinse, cycle, repeat for the Huskies.
It should be a good one. I mean, you get 2 powerhouses here in their own right. Winterset's won 2 out of the last couple championships here at the state tournament, including defending state champions. Fort Dodge has been a part of the Class 5A championship the last 2 years. They now move down to Class 4A. Someone's championship streak's getting broken today. This is going to be a good one.
Looking in is Porter. She delivers a big cut by Darling and off the mark. The Dodgers go with their white jerseys with script and numerals in black, outlined in red, red pants, and black and red socks with a white stripe. And that'll even up the count at 1-1.
Avery Darling's been the senior left fielder this year for Winterset. She's kind of been one of the leaders after losing a couple good seniors this past season.
A cut. This is going to get into foul territory. Looks like it's going to get out of play. No! And coming up with it.
Foul.
Yeah, the ball just hitting off of the fencing there, but that was, I thought for sure that was going to hit the top of the dugout, and that was a little bit closer for comfort than Darling would have liked. In the end, it's a long strike. 1-2. This is going to be popped up, and Allstott will get underneath it. No problems for her. First batter of the game gone.
We talked about all tournament long the first 2 days how important it is to get that first out. If you get a runner on first with nobody out, it puts a lot of pressure on your defense. Good job by Porter in the circle there to get the pitch that she wants, force the pop-up.
The Huskies going in, I think, arguably the most common color scheme that you'll see, very Iowa Hawkeyes-esque, as taking a strike on the inside corner is Olson. The black jerseys, script and numerals in gold, and black pants and socks.
McKenna's been one of the shining spots for Winterset this year, just an 8th grader coming in. You never know how good these girls are going to be, but Winterset, a very strong youth program over there just to the southwest of Des Moines. So good to see an 8th grader out here shining.
Doster with a little conversation with the umpire, and those three, well, especially the first 2 pitches, looked like they were almost in the exact same spot. So I think her argument was the first one was a strike. Why wasn't the second one? Similar spot, but definitely more inside. This one coming in on the hands of the batter, and a combination play. How about that? Doster gets a piece of it and actually pops it up, and then coming over is Mia McCaleb. So the old F25, and we've quickly got 2 down in the contest. Great job by McCaleb to say, okay, Doster's called me off, but I'm not going to give up on this play just in case something like that happens. It does. They get the second out.
She lost that foul ball over there. She didn't want to lose another.
Fouled back, and that's going to be Jenna Young. Jenna Young, a very special player in an interesting situation here. Not often do you see a player make their first at-bat of the season at the state tournament. It's exactly what she did a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Hit well out to left field. Tooney will track it, and it's a 1-2-3 inning with all 3 outs being recorded as pop-outs. So we will go to the bottom of the first. Still no score. Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament is presented by Iowa Farm Bureau and the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future, with energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Hey fans, Central College has you covered with career-building programs. And with tuition, less than $20,000 a year and tons of scholarships, it's the best decision ever. Apply today at central.edu.
I'm excited to see how Fort Dodge gets going here. They had one of the better offenses in that first round, that 8-3 victory over ADM. And, you know, the Dodgers, they've only lost 2 games not to Class 4 or not to Class 5A opponents. They lost to 4A Dallas Center Grimes earlier this season. Then they lost to Regina Catholic down in Class 2A. So 4A opponents, Fort Dodge has handled their business pretty well this year.
Breeding will make her 34th appearance on the year. Winds and fires. Whoa. We have a conversation as calling timeout just before that pitch was thrown. Now a conversation with the home plate umpire. That is J.D. Hugestrat. At first is Tom Sullivan. At third is Paul Bird.
So the biggest thing is you got to keep that foot planted. The foot cannot come off the rubber. And one thing about Molly Breeding, she's got one of the more different pitching styles, the way she leans down.
It went as a ball, and they're going to keep that there. Would be interested to see if it had gone as a strike, if they would have said, hey, we're just going to redo that. There's a strike down the chute. Breeding is a junior. She pitched in their victory over Carlisle, didn't pitch the whole game, but started and then came back in as Bryn Acton pitched in between. Count is 1-1. Breeding looks in and just misses low. If you tuned into that game against Carlisle, you'll know this already, but it's Carly Akers catching her with Bryn Acton at first, McKenna Olson at second, Neela Applegate at short, Bailey Acton, the sister of Bryn, at third. We'll get to the outfield here in just a moment. 2-1 the count as she works in on McCaleb and a called strike 2. Then Avery Darling in left, Maya Adkins straightaway center, and Ashlyn Devine is the right fielder. As we had already mentioned, Jenna Young is the player in the Winterset starting lineup, but not in the batting order. 2-2 the count. We'll come home with it. This is popped up into foul territory and a little bit out of the reach of Bailey Acton, although she gave that a good run.
Molly Breeding learned under Thea Banning last year, the star Winterset pitcher that led the Huskies to 2 state championships in 2020 and 2022. Breeding was the second pitcher. She was the one of the 2 that pitched a couple games, so she came in this year. She wasn't the main go-to. Bryn Acton was a little bit to start the year. Molly has since then kind of came into her own as Bryn dealt with shin issues for injury.
McCaleb with a 2-2 count, chases one outside, and she'll go down swinging for the first out of the inning.
And the crazy thing is about Winterset, 2 pitchers, and the strikeout numbers are insane. I mean, 289 total strikeouts. Both of them have over 130 coming into the state tournament. Coach Corcoran has admitted he's a pitching coach, and that's what he does. And he always, no matter what pitchers you get, Winterset's going to have a good pitching staff.
Maggie Ellsbecker, the center fielder, is a senior. She takes a look at one in the dirt. Hope Allstott also due up this half inning.
Ellsbecker, a .354 hitter, 28 RBIs. One thing, Eric, these are not 2 heavy home run hitting teams. These are teams that are going to, most of the time, keep it in the ballpark. Only 8 home runs this year for Fort Dodge.
Blue-collar teams that are going to try to manufacture their way around the bases. And quickly behind in the count 2-0.
I will say one thing that Fort Dodge has the advantage over 100 stolen bases for the Dodgers. Winterset's only stolen 8 bases all year long.
Breeding checks in, fires low, and first 3 don't find the strike zone. I thought you were going to state the obvious. The advantage that they have is home field advantage, and not just, obviously, you know, they've played on this field before, primarily playing over on the Kruger Seeds field, but then the crowd is going to be something that can lift them up. Breeding needs to find the strike zone and does. She goes right down Broadway, 3-1 the count.
Yeah, this crowd, I mean, it's packed full even out to the outfield. You could just tell the noise for them is a lot louder than Winterset.
Ellsbecker was taking the whole way on that 4th pitch, does the same here. That's a 5-pitch walk, and Ellsbecker will be the first player to reach base for either side. It brings up Hope Allstott, just an 8th grader, but she has been entrusted with playing the shortstop position for the Dodgers, and when you see her action in the field, you can see just why. Also batting in the 3-hole.
Yeah, it's a good feeling when you can say, yeah, our 3-spot hitter is an 8th grader. We're going to have her for a couple of years.
Showing bunt, then pulling back, and it's a called strike by Allstott.
It's kind of crazy, Eric. These 2 teams, they don't seem like they'd be too familiar with each other, being 5A and 4A, but they've played every year dating back to 2014 except 2019. Winterset beat Fort Dodge in the Fort Dodge Invitational Championship last year, 9-5.
Low, and that one Looked like it was going to catch her at the knees, and the bottom just fell out. 1-1. That'll even up the count.
Breeding's been liking the lower part of the strike zone. She's not really a rise ball pitcher. The bottom of the zone's where she's going to be hitting, which favors ground balls.
Allstott batting .436 coming into the state tournament. Lays it down. Breeding makes the right decision, but Allstott beats it out. Fantastic job by Allstott. I think initially she thought, well, I probably played that a little bit too far, would have liked to take a little bit off that, but she makes up for it with how quickly she gets out of the box. The speed down to first was impressive, but it was those first couple of steps the reason that she's on first right now.
Well, yeah, and Breeding kind of lobbed that throw. It wasn't like a laser right to Acton at first base. I think if Breeding would have lasered it, it would have maybe been closer, but yeah, just a little bit too much of a lob underneath it.
Needed it on a rope, instead got a little bit of a rainbow dip in there, and that might be the difference, as taking strike one is McElrath, a good cut. Comes in with a batting average of .296.
She's only started in 25 games now this season, so just kind of getting herself inserted into the lineup.
That one's going to be fouled back to the backstop right in front of us. That will keep the two runners stuck at first and second, respectively.
Need that big second out here. Eliminates the sacrifice opportunity that Fort Dodge likes to do. If they can do it. They've only got 5 sacrifices this whole season, so it's not a
big part of their repertoire.
Game.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. Fouled back. Same spot, but a little bit tighter of a line, and so that'll keep the count at 0-2.
One thing, though, about Fort Dodge, they are disciplined at the plate. A lot of batters over double-digit walks, 123 walks as a team.
Low, and smothering that is Akers. Then she aggressively pops around the left side of McElrath and stares her opponent back to second base.
Carly Akers had to do the really tough job of taking over for Bridget Stover, who was, a 2-time state champion. She's now a catcher up at the University of Iowa. Akers really has to do her job diligently here with really talented runners on the base paths.
Good sound off the bat, but that one well off target as that one rolls over the dugout of the Huskies.
Couple foul balls here, Eric. They're late. They're just a little late. They haven't been really early on anything. It's all been fouled backwards. If it's fouled forward, that means you're early. Dodgers trying to keep up with it here.
Breeding comes home with it. Low. And Akers able to scoop that out. And will fire it back in. Not necessarily a situation where she wants to waste a pitch, but she did have that insurance there with the count at 1-2. Now it comes to 2-2, 1 out, runners on second and first. It's Elsbecker leading Allstott. Smoked out to the gap in left center field. That's going to drop in for a hit. They'll quickly get the ball in, and there's going to be a play of the play. It's behind and in safe at third is Allstott. So the timing of that worked out perfect. McElrath with an RBI single and then takes second on the throw to third.
And just like that, a pitching change is being made. This is one thing Coach Corcoran does. He's quick. I mean, if he knows when pitchers aren't having their stuff. Rin Acton's going to come in and relieve here for Molly Breeding. Just a quick switch. They're both first basemen, but great hit out to left and aggressive base running to get to third base.
And I think sometimes the coaches do this to make us have to change up our lineup cards and our defensive positions. Fortunately for me, knowing that this is something that Steve Corcoran does, I made sure to put mine in pencil so it'll be an easy switch. So let's talk about the aforementioned Bryn Acton. This will be her 30th appearance on the year. Coming into Monday, she had 101 innings pitched, a 2.91 ERA, and 133 strikeouts, a record of 9-7 and 3 saves. Did not get the decision in that Winterset victory over Carlisle 11-5. But this is a big moment. I mean, you are looking at a situation with just one down. You've already got a run in, and you're inheriting two, and you're inheriting them at the worst spots, closer to home, and there is no force out anywhere right now but first base. Cadence Tooney, the sophomore, takes a look at a low pitch, ball one.
And Winterset, unfortunately for them at times, they have played from behind quite a bit this year, and they've gotten wins to come back. I think of a Clark game that they were down early, Dowling Catholic they were down early. They are good at coming back into games, but at the state tournament and in this crowd environment, it's a whole different level. A
strike low in all that excitement. Forgot to say that this pitching change in today's game is brought to you by IMT Insurance. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com. Breeding. We'll scoop that up in our glove, but well foul. So we will go back and do it again. But right now, Acton, with one out in the inning, would love to retire Tooney and prevent Tooney from putting the ball in play and strand those runners at second and third with Lara due up. There's a sharp foul off the top portion of the first base fence, and that will keep the situation the same, although it does give Tooney a couple extra looks at Acton's stuff.
I tell you what, Fort Dodge is seeing the ball well. Now they're almost got contact on everything. It's rare that they're missing pitches besides that first strikeout of the game.
We talk about the swing and miss rates so much these days, and that is not something that we've seen much, but just as we say that, Tooney is retired, and now an opportunity for Winterset. As odd as this is to say, they're trailing in the game, but this could be a huge momentum swing if they say, whoa, we had a 1-0 deficit, but we kept it at 1 despite 2 runners in scoring position, only 1 down. Lydia Lara is the one who's going to decide if the bleeding stops here. She hits it out to right field. Devine will get underneath it, and quick work made by Bryn Acton, and she keeps it a 1-run game. We will come back with a second inning. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
In Iowa, we all play by the same rules. Hard work pays off, practice makes perfect, success is something you earn, and teamwork helps us all be winners. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics. Because on our team and on yours, what we bring to the table is what brings us all together. Learn more about our commitment to Iowa at iowapork.org.
Living your best life means something different to everyone, especially when it comes to healthcare. That's why Mercy One offers compassionate, personalized care. We are here for you with one team of experts, providing access to the primary care and highly rated specialty care you need, easily and conveniently. So go ahead, live your best life. We're with you every step of the way. Mercy One, your best life, our one purpose.
Welcome back, here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy, as we get ready to start the second inning. Here on the Iowa Central field, Fort Dodge leads Winterset 1-0 in the first of 2 back-to-back Class 4A semifinals. Over on the Kruger Seeds field, it is Ankeny Centennial and Southeast Polk with Daniel Versteeg and Hunter Phillips with the call of that one, and we're tuning in right now. Looks like top of the 4th, and Centennial on top 3-1. That one is going to find the gap between first and second, and wasting no time, jumping on the first pitch and being rewarded for her aggression was Bryn Acton, as she's going to bring that batting average up, coming into the week, batting .374 for the Huskies.
She did not have a good start to the season, but she has picked things up, and I think the more she's pitched, the better she's hit. Looks like you're going to have a courtesy runner as well.
As with all of our substitutions, this is brought to you by IMT Insurance. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com.
Well, they were going to run Bristol Tadlock, but instead they're going to put the senior Allie Soderberg out there and run for the Huskies.
Soderberg primarily used as an outfielder when she gets into the contest. And now an opportunity for Neela Applegate, who leads the team in batting average, north of 450. And we'll see what she can do here as Porter delivers. Fouled out the third base side.
Jenna Young, just a sophomore, when it was told that, Neela Applegate, just a sophomore. When Jenna Young tore ACL in basketball, the question was who was going to step up. Neela Applegate, who played the same position, shortstop, as Jenna has, Neela has stepped up. She has been the replacement of Jenna Young. Not quite as good, but, man, she's close, and she's the big hitter.
Shows bunt, but then peels back as that one was at her cleats. Applegate went 1 for 4 in that victory over Carlisle. An RBI single, also drew an intentional base on balls.
She has such a quick swing. Like, if it's gone, you're not going to see it, like, stretch out.
Soderberg waits at first. This one curling over the third base fence. And a long strike 2.
Corcoran held up a 3. I think he was like, about 0.3 of a second quicker. I think he would have been there. She's on it here.
So important for the Huskies to try to do something here because it's not a 2-out rally they're trying to put together. Nearly going was Applegate, and a good decision to pull that back at the last second.
I do not understand. I can't imagine being in the box. The ability to hold back like that. I mean, your momentum says go, and then your brain says, not yet, don't go.
2-2 the count. Porter deals and caught her upstairs as Applegate gave a swipe at one that was about neck high, and this will bring up Molly Breeding.
The rise ball looked good on the way, and it looks good about halfway to the plate, and then last second it carries. Gravity wasn't going to help you there.
Porter, with her first strikeout of the contest, had 3 fly ball outs in the first inning. Laying off that one was Breeding. And so far it's been the left side of the field for the Dodgers that's been involved. Pop outs to, this is hit to left center field. Trailing over is the center fielder, and Elsbecker not only makes the play, but then quickly gets it back in. No opportunity for the courtesy runner, Soderberg, to advance, and there's 2 down.
There's been some great arms in the outfield, and you said it. I mean, catching is one thing, but getting it back into the field of play, that's another. That's what I think kind of cost Winterset on that play to try to get the runner coming back home for Fort Dodge. They didn't really know which way they were going to go.
And just as I was saying that it was the left side that has made the outs at left field, shortstop, and then the third baseman via the catcher.
Yep.
And then there, the center fielder gets involved, but well left of where she is normally platooned. And so taking a look at one upstairs is Bailey Acton, the third baseman.
Yeah, Bailey, one of the seniors on this team, obviously older sister to Bryn. She's played third base all season long. Batting numbers have improved as the year's gone on.
Outside, and sometimes I wonder, as Doster tried to pull that back, at times I almost wonder, are there some that you should give up on and say, all right, I don't want to get that reputation of you want a reputation amongst coaches and players as being a good framer, not necessarily with the officials. And didn't need to frame that one. That one just finds the inside corner on its own, and it brings the count to 2-1.
I've definitely seen umpires, and I've talked to umpires who say that they'll see girls frame it, and he's like, I just roll my eyes. And he's like, I've told one of the umpires before, hey, don't worry about it.
This one is going to be popped up, and diving to make the play is Mia McCaleb. We've seen her come up with a couple of fantastic defensive gems, and so the Huskies strand the runner at first. We'll be back with the bottom of the second. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Sway's the place for you!
Welcome back here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at the replay of that last one. Fantastic effort diving over to her left. Mia McCaleb, one that I was about to say found the Bermuda Triangle between the pitcher, shortstop, and third baseman. And McCaleb says, hey, I've got a little bit more game than you are giving me credit for. Missing on the first pitch is Acton, so 1-0 the count. Chopping it is Brown, and an easy play for Olson. She finds Breeding now at first, and Macy Brown gone on 2 pitches.
I feel like this dirt's been pretty consistent here in the infield. I don't know about you from the games that you've seen, but consistent bounces. We haven't seen anything wild. The craziest bounce I've seen is when it gets to the grass and it hops up in the air, but good job by the fields crew and the grounds crew here. Great field to play on.
I would say, and this is now my 7th game, so 6 in the books. I'd say I saw one where it was rolling down the third base side. It looked like it was going to bounce up, and then it just flattened.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're right. And even with the balls that are rolling ever so close to being foul, haven't seen anything that really, stuck when it shouldn't have. Yeah. And at the same time, haven't seen anything that just started spinning like a whirling dervish and headed wide. So you're right. But it's a luxury. That's what we come to expect here every year. This one is hit into the gap as Applegate was a little closer to third than she would have liked to after having seen where that one ended up. Elle Doster gets a single, and now Ashlyn Wills will see if she can't put a couple of runners on for the top of the order to try to do some damage with.
Yeah, Naomi Alexander's going to come on and run for Doster. Applegate just was cheated over a little too far to the left. And you do scouting reports on hitters, and that time Winterset just didn't really think she was going to be that far in, but barely miscalculated.
As Blake mentioned, Naomi coming on to first means that we've got a substitution, which is brought to you by IMT Insurance. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com. Wills shows bunt and will lay off of it, pulls it back. It's ball 1.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Fort Dodge has names written on the side of their helmets, and I think they're Top Gun-inspired nicknames because you got Trip up to bat here, and then you got Mayday in the box. So maybe some Top Gun Maverick inspiration here for the Dodgers.
My dad was in the U.S. Air Force for 21 years, and he said that the film Top Gun, the problem with it is after it came out, that's all people wanted to ask is, what is your call sign? And there were a couple of them in his squadron that he said, they weren't really on-air appropriate. This is going to be hit right by the pitcher and right over the bag. A great piece of hitting there by Wills. It's a single. She'll pass the baton, and now McCaleb coming up trying to get a rally going here in the second.
The middle of the field seems to be the place to be, and it's hard for a pitcher, especially with Acton. She's a little bit taller, to be able to go down and get that ball, hitting them where they're not.
For the record, my dad's was appropriate. He went to the University of Hawaii, and they called him the Flying Hawaiian. But there were a few of them that I'm like, boy, I can't believe you had to walk around with that on your chest for 20 years. Coming up with McCaleb, we saw her strike out the first time through, but she has made up for it on the defensive side.
Oh my
In
gosh.
fact, that one that got caught up in the fencing, you think that maybe that inspired her to say, okay, now I've got to show everybody that I'm more than just a leadoff hitter, but involved defensively as well. She'll check down the line, get a conversation going, and with a 1-1 count, and obviously you see the corner infielders in as they prepare for anything out of McCaleb. Sophomore takes a look at a pitch outside, and it's going to be a 2-1 count.
Well, and, Akers keeps thinking back to second base, wanting to go, but McKenna Olson's all the way over here in right field, so you're not really going to have a play at second even if you want to get the runner trying to take off.
Due up at 1:30 as this one is low for ball 3. The 8 seed North Scott will be taking on the 4 seed Norwalk, and the winner of this game gets the winner of that game over on the Kruger Seeds field tomorrow night at 7:30.
Get a nighttime championship in.
Swing, and the runners go. They will advance on a 3-1 count. McCaleb takes a healthy cut at one outside. So in essence, the runners, had McCaleb laid off that one, would have gotten to second and third on their own, but now it puts up a tricky spot for McCaleb as the count goes full.
I can't believe the catch by Bailey Acton. I don't know if you saw it, but Akers threw that. Acton was ducking. She was ready to get out of the way, and she just caught up and got it, or else that would have been gone.
Chop to the shortstop. She'll have only one play to first. Is it in time? It is indeed, but McCaleb slaps hands with the first base coach because she picks up an RBI and doubles her team's lead. It is now 2-0.
Boy, the runner from second to third almost took off to home a little prematurely, but that's just good small ball. I mean, just move the line down. Fort Dodge already on the board quickly here, 2-0.
And scoring there was Naomi Alexander. That will leave Wills at third, and what a big play that was, the double steal, because otherwise perhaps Winterset gets out of this inning unscathed, at least on the run side of the scoreboard.
We talked about it, over 100 stolen bases this season for Fort Dodge, so you got to keep that in the back of your mind.
This is popped up. Catcher gets underneath it and able to get a piece of it with her glove, but not able to hold on. Kind of slaloming and curving, and that's a tougher play than it looks as that ball was starting to move as it came back down.
The wind's moving too, Eric. I mean, it's blowing out to right field. This might be the strongest I've seen the wind blow this week, so that ball's going to turn in the air, and it really is tough already having to take the mask off.
We'll see what Elsbecker can do with her second life. She fouls one back. That was close in on the hands. Probably a ball, but at an 0-2 count, she didn't want the inning to end with her bat, with their bat on her shoulders.
Be huge if Winterset can get out of here because, I don't know about you, 4 hits, it feels like this should be a 4-0 game, but only being 2-0, you feel kind of thankful.
The Huskies trying to get out of this one. Acton delivers. The shortstop is going to be late with the throw, and it's going to be an RBI infield single for Elsbecker. And coming across to touch them all is Wills. And how about that? Not only picking up 2 runs, but picking them up with your 8 and 9 hitters. That is going to motivate and fire up the rest of the lineup to say, hey, we're the ones expected to do the damage, and we're getting it from all angles. So for Winterset, now the thought is, all right, you don't want to be in a 3-0 hole, but you can't afford to have this inning go on any longer. They're just trying to come up with 1 out here, and then they'll get back to their dugout and figure out a way to chip away at this lead.
Well, yeah, and it's like we talked about, they're not crazy hits. I mean, they're just nice infield choppers. That one was all the way to the grass, and Applegate was going to have to make a heck of a throw to get it across the diamond. But, yeah, it's nothing fancy that Fort Dodge is doing right now.
5 hits, all singles for the Dodgers, and a few of them haven't even left the infield. That is the way to do it when you have what is a 1-2 punch in Breeding and Acton that don't give you a lot of looks to really rip the cover off the ball. Offering up is Allstott. She pulls back. We We talk about the young lady, and as an 8th grader, I've yet to see a hole in her game. Batting over 400, she's the shortstop, and we've seen the speed that she brings out of the batter's box as well. Low, that's going to even up the count at 1-1.
Yeah, and the other thing for Winterset defensively, you have to think this is a team that steals bases. So it's not like you only have to worry about hitting. You got to worry about where the bases are going, too. There's just so much on your mind right now if you're an infielder.
Just misses. Ball 2.
Acton didn't like it. She hit the corner. That's a couple times she's hit the corner. She's been able to get it. She kind of shook her head there in the circle, but you got to shake it off. You got to keep moving through.
Neither did the Winterset fans. This is chopped high to the shortstop. She'll have a play at first in time. Great job there by Applegate to catch and release quickly. She must be a fisherman. We'll go to the top of the 3rd inning with a 3-0 lead for Fort Dodge. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. That old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
When you choose Delta Dental of Iowa, you set a chain of good in motion. Because we invest in your community. So whether you get your plan at work or purchase it through us, you get more than great dental and vision insurance. You make a difference for others. Choose Delta Dental for your smile, for your health, and for your community.
Welcome back, here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. We are just about ready to start the 3rd inning for the Fort Dodge Dodgers. 3 runs on 5 hits, 3 left on base. For Winterset, no runs on 1 hit, 1 stranded. And both teams have kept their nose clean, as we've yet to see an error in the contest. Carly Akers batting .288. The catcher will step up for the Huskies. First pitch, she likes what she sees, but pops it up to the left fielder. Tooney, the sophomore, underneath it. No worries, no problems, and they quickly have the first out of the inning.
It's interesting how Winterset goes about offensively here, because you know you can't steal bases. You've only stolen 8 all year. You're going to throw that out the window. You just got to hope for hits. And in that Carlisle game, they hit the ball about as good as they did all season long, unfortunately for Carlisle.
Well, and the other thing is right now, I mean, you're putting the cart a little bit before the horse, because worrying about stolen bases means worrying about getting batters on. And right now, Lucy Porter is a batter away from going through the lineup once and only allowing one player, Bryn Acton, to reach safely. This is smoked over to the right field side, and that's something that we've not been able to say all day for Winterset, as all of the other batters have been spraying the left side of the field, but Devine is able to pull this one down the line, and now the Huskies with an opportunity to get something going here in the top half of the 3rd.
Ashland doesn't have crazy power, and that's a weird swing because there's not a lot on it. I don't even know if she really wanted to go out for it, but bloop's in the right place. Now you get to the top of the batting order.
So it will be Darling to come to bat. She flew out to the shortstop first time up, although had an incredible game against Carlisle, as she went 3 for 4, knocked in a run, drew a walk, and scored twice. So if Winterset's going to get something going, this one gets away from the catcher. Doster quickly tracks it down in the corner, but Devine will head on into second, and now this opens up options for Darling here.
And she's a speed type. I mean, she is so fast. That's why she's so good in left field. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a bunt here at a 1-1 count just to get her onto first base.
Not at all, and that's kind of the situation when the when it's in your favor as it is here with a runner on second. Now it'll change things up a little bit here, though, with a count of 1-2.
Porter loves the edge, and the umpire's giving it to her here on the corner, so expect to see her go back.
Hits this one out to right center field. Will it drop in? It does! Holding up for a moment was Divine, and she will end up at third because she was fearful that either Lara or Elsbecker would come over, but not a bad situation to be in here as Darling with an absolute fantastic swing. That is a double, and that is our first extra base hit of the game, which are brought to you by Kruger Seeds, your local seeds dealer. Visit KrugerSeed.com today.
Corcoran had to kind of laugh about it because he said, that's my bad. But really, from here, it looked like they were going to get there. I mean, that's just kind of an unfortunate situation that when it dropped, then she took off. But, yeah, you got runners on second and third now.
Yeah, you don't want to be in no man's land. You either want to stay as she did and figure, well, I could at least get to third and then perhaps a pass ball or an infield single and I score. All things considered, you'd rather have that than have her halfway to second, or excuse me, halfway to third and then having to run back to second. The two squads talking things over as there's a conference on the mound for the Dodgers. And that elicits some responses from the two cheering sections.
Oh, my gosh.
The Winterset side all wearing various shades of pink. And then on the Fort Dodge side, the more traditional school colors, mostly wearing black with some red sprinkled in as well.
I have to laugh because half the Fort Dodge student section is the grounds crew, so they're wearing grounds crew T-shirts.
Right. Ripped over the third baseman's head. That's going to score one. And so when you go back to the decision, it all works out for Divine and Winterset as she gets knocked in. Now they've got runners on the corners as Olsen picks up the first RBI for the Huskies today, and Darling ends up at third.
And I hate to tell Fort Dodge, but the 2022 Gatorade Player of the Year is now up to bat.
And she has had few at-bats in the season, but she will pick up an RBI as she flies out to the left fielder. So one pitch, and she records out number two, but more importantly, she plates Avery Darling. And what a different game this is than we saw 5 minutes ago. 3-2 versus 3-0. And by the way, Winterset's not done in the inning just yet.
No, and I told you, Winterset has played from behind so many times this year. At this point, it doesn't faze them. And right now, it's not phasing them as Porter has slipped a little bit here in the circle.
I talked about what a great game Darling had against Carlisle, and actually, Bryn Acton even better. 4 for 5, a run, 3 runs batted in, including herself. She went yard with a 2-run home run that scored Tadlock running for Young. This is chopped to the second baseman. Wills will have a play at first. That will end the inning, but Winterset picks up 2 big runs on 3 hits, 1 left on base, and we will head to the bottom of the third with the score 3-2 in favor of Fort Dodge. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Fans, official state tournament merchandise is now available online. It's time to get your smartphones out. You can just scan the QR code on your screen right now, or you can take a look at the merch online, visit IGHSAU.org to browse and customize your merchandise to match your style. And we do have a change. It's another IMT insurance substitution. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com. And once again, Molly Breeding is going to switch spots with Bryn Acton. Breeding back at the circle and Acton back at first base.
I think Coach Corcoran just needed Molly to calm down. I think, after that big day on Monday, just get her settled back in, get her moving. That's expected from a coach who, oh, by the way, if he wins today, 700 career wins for Coach Corcoran.
Kenzie McElrath takes a look at a called strike one. So, as some of you may know, I am the voice of the St. Cloud Norsemen, a hockey team. I'm going to make a couple of hockey references, but you see a lot in hockey. Goalies get pulled, not necessarily because they were doing bad, but it's a way to motivate the players and fire them up and say, hey, we need to make a switch here. You don't see nearly as often that goalie come back in, but that's exactly the situation we've got here. The other thing I like to point out in broadcast is late in the game when a team is trailing and their goalie makes a big save, I say, hey, remember that save. If they come back and tie up or win the game, remember the performance of Bryn Acton. She was the Band-Aid that they needed in that moment to keep the Dodgers from ballooning the lead. And so right now they find themselves down by one, but it could be a lot worse if Acton hadn't come in and gotten them out of a jam in the first.
And they lean on each other. I mean, they're only about 60 feet away from each other. It's just they can talk to each other, both first basemen. They both know what they have to do. Good support system.
So McElrath gets a hole as she finds a spot just to the left of Applegate. And I was just going to point out that Acton has seen every batter in the lineup except McElrath. She was the last batter to face Breeding in her first time pitching, and then the first batter the second time through. Here comes Cadence Tooney. So in other words, you're going to be looking at the bottom half of this order now has not had a look at Molly Breeding today.
I'd be curious to see Neela Applegate if she starts cheating a little bit more to the center of the field, because a lot of balls have gone her way.
Bunted down, the first baseman Acton throws over to Olson, covering at first. And so that will advance McElrath, but a sacrifice for Tooney.
That's simple, small ball. Move the runner along. You only got one out. You could technically sacrifice her over to third, so a lot of opportunity here for the Dodgers.
Lydia Lara flew out to the right fielder. That was the aforementioned Bryn Acton coming in and holding the fort, so to speak, in the first inning. And she'll take a look at one well outside, as we've got Brown and Doster due up next. The runner at second will get a healthy lead, and Akers just fires back to the glove of Breeding.
That was a really good pitch, and yeah, you got the junior McElrath on second. Obviously, she cannot take off until the pitch is thrown, but at the same time, Akers has to be careful here behind the dish.
Breeding comes home with it and finds the inside corner for strike two. On the 5A side, we mentioned that Ankeny Centennial and Southeast Polk battling right now. The second Class 5A semifinal, Muscatine and Pleasant Valley, that should get underway at the other field at about 1 o'clock start time. Big swing and unable to catch up with it was Lara, and she'll go down for out number two, out number two, as quickly approaching was Brown. Those two switched spots so quickly, I all of a sudden doubted myself and thinking that was somehow strike two.
A couple strikeouts here by Breeding, and they've been one on sliders on the outside that Fort Dodge chases.
Breeding has 2 of the 3 strikeouts, Acton with the other, and that came at a huge moment with runners on second and third that they were able to strand back in the first.
Big spot here. Still, that out was huge. Now you eliminate the sacrifice.
Brown, we'll take a look at one in the dirt. Macy Brown, a junior, and batting .286 through regional play.
11 RBIs for her, 24 hits, all of which are singles, by the way.
Well, they could use one here. Breeding. Wines delivers and gets a called strike. It's a 1-2 count once again.
She's gotten 2 pretty good pitches that she stared at right down the pipe. 1-2 here. You got to swing, I feel like, no matter what.
Doster waiting in the on-deck circle. Will we see her? Breeding is ready. Goes into her crouch and fires another big strikeout. So the Fort Dodge side for the first time held off the scoreboard. No runs on 1 hit and 1 left on base. We will come back with the 4th inning. It's 3-2 Fort Dodge on top. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
Hello, I'm Brent Johnson, an Iowa farmer from Calhoun County and president of the Iowa Farm Bureau. As proud title sponsor of the state softball tournament, the Iowa Farm Bureau is dedicated to creating a vibrant future for Iowa through partnerships and programs that help cultivate individuals with great character, a strong work ethic, and exceptional leadership skills. Making it to the state tournament is a great accomplishment that takes a lot of support. That's why we provide millions of dollars in awards, grants, and scholarships that recognize athletic and academic excellence. The well-being of Iowa students is also very important to Farm Bureau. That's why we provide concussion insurance coverage at no cost for all students in grades 9 through 12 who participate in a sanctioned sport. As just one of only 7 states to provide this coverage, it's just another way we're striving to support Iowa's outstanding young leaders. So, from the Iowa Farm Bureau, congratulations to all the players and coaches on an outstanding season, and good luck in the tournament.
Welcome back here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Top of the 4th inning, 3-2 Fort Dodge with the slimmest of leads, and Lucy Porter will work on Neela Applegate, and got a little bit too much on that to the enjoyment of the Winterset side. It's just ball 1, but the fans here are going to take any opportunity to have some fun with it.
Especially when you're not the biggest crowd here. You're going to take every chance you can get. Neela Applegate, dangerous spot here.
Inside pitch, that also misses. We're just getting a final from the other field, Centennial, with an 11-1 victory over Southeast Polk. The 10-run rule comes into effect, and they will move on for a championship tomorrow, as that one is called a strike, a little bit of a delayed call, 2-1.
Doster's frame jobs are pretty impressive. That was away and low, and Doster was able to pull it back in, and the umpire got it for a strike. Applegate's patient here.
This one is popped up, and underneath it, the center fielder, it's off her glove. Ellsbecker just couldn't bring that in, and Applegate will take any opportunity she can to run the bases. She'll stay on first. Breeding now will come up to try to knock her in.
I didn't want to say anything, but we had gone without a couple errors, and I don't know how much of a difference this makes, Eric, but it keeps going from cloudy to sunny, cloudy to sunny. That time, it got overcast for a quick second. Did that mess her up in the outfield?
It very well could have at least factored in. Showing bunt is Breeding, and Ellie Doster pump fakes down to first. Finishing up the thoughts on 5A, Ankeny Centennial. We know that the rankings have not necessarily come to fruition, but you've got to imagine they've got to be thrilled. Not only are they moving on to the championship game, but the 2 and the 3 seeds, the seeds and the teams that they have a little bit more familiarity with in Ankeny and Waukee Northwest went down on Monday, so they'll either be facing Muscatine or Pleasant Valley for the championship, which will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Laying off of that one is Breeding.
These are always tough spots for the catcher because you have to watch the runner at first. Your transition from catch to throw, you can easily, and I've seen it, you lose the ball. Doster's got to be careful here not to think ahead.
pulls back, and it's a 3-1 count. On the other side of this bracket, in fact, I'll have the call of the next game as well. North Scott taking on Norwalk. And the winner of that game faces the winner of this game. That'll take place tomorrow at 7:30. All the championship games over on Kruger Seeds Field. There's a called strike and a close one, but definitely did find the zone. The count goes full. Nobody out and a runner at first.
Yeah, that was the pitch you wanted for Breeding.
She looks in. It's a pitcher-on-pitcher duel. She can't catch up with that outside pitch. And Porter has not had a ton of strikeouts, but they've come in big moments. That's her second there, and it brings up Bailey Acton.
Yeah, it's interesting spot here for Winterset. Wind continues to blow out strong to the right, but obviously you got a right-handed batter. This will be interesting to see how they go about this. Again, they don't steal bases, so with Applegate on first, if you're Fort Dodge, you really don't have to worry about it too much.
Count of 1-0. Porter looks in. Setting up outside is Doster. Hit to the shortstop, Allstott. She'll have a play at second and records the out. So Allstott, in essence, picking up Ellsbecker there, and they do end up retiring Applegate for out number 2. Reaching first on the fielder's choice was Bailey Acton.
Winterset's going to bring out some power here. They're going to go to the bench and going to go see Summer Little, who has 2 homers and 18 RBIs. She's a .317 hitter. So Akers will go to the bench, and they'll go a IMT insured substitution here to maybe try to get the runner home. Corcoran knows he's got a lot of speed at first base with Applegate. So if you get a good hit here from Summer Little, who's very capable of it, bring her around.
We did see Summer Little make an appearance. In fact, she pinch hit for Akers on Monday and hit a double in the 6th inning, ended up coming around to score with McKenna Olson knocking her in that 11-5 victory that they had over Carlisle. A really long game. A lot of hits in that game, a lot of pitching changes, and 2 opponents that, frankly, I've seen nothing but great sportsmanship shown by all teams, including those 2, but 2 teams that you just get the feeling they don't care for each other too much.
Yeah, and that's, Coach Flaws, his teams, they play long games, long distances for those teams.
This one is popped up, ripping off the mask immediately is Doster. She'll look back and watch that one out of play. It goes for a long strike, 1-1 the count.
Devine saw something in Porter's pitching while she was here in the box on the box or in the dugout, because she had a couple words for Summer Little about Porter's pitching before she stepped up to bat.
Fouled back, and behind in the count 1-2 is Summer Little.
This outfield can't be too happy with how these clouds are working out. It gets sunny, then it gets cloudy. Not easy.
Little smokes that one right into the glove of Allstott, and she shows it for the fans. It's a line drive out to the shortstop. So no runs on no hits, 1 left on for Winterset. We will head to the bottom of the 4th inning with Fort Dodge on top, 3-2. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Being your family's grocery store isn't just about having the best butcher cut meat or the freshest produce. It's not about having the highest quality online shopping or experts who handpick your groceries. And it's not just about giving you the most affordable prices. Being your family's grocery store means making sure that you have all of that. And that's why at Fairway Meat and Grocery, it's what we've always been about.
Here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Bottom of the fourth inning, and coming up for the Dodgers, Ellie Doster, Ashlyn Wills, and Maya McCaleb. A right-handed batter, first time up. Doster singled and then scored. She was knocked in by McCaleb on a sacrifice. This is up the elevator shaft and held onto by Acton. Looked like there was maybe going to be a collision with Doster there, but Acton able to fight through it.
It would have been interference, but Doster kind of ran out of the path to seem like she was going to get in the way. That was a cheeky move, to say the least.
It'll be Wills to come to the plate.
Interesting.
Outside, ball one. We've talked about the matchups in 5 and 4A. At 3 o'clock today in 3A, it'll be Williamsburg taking on Esterville Lincoln Central. Davenport Assumption takes on Dubuque Wahlert at 5 o'clock in the 3A semifinals. I'll have the call of that Assumption-Wahlert game. In 2A, Iowa City Regina survived a scare with the 8 seed Northeast, took extra innings, but they advanced, and they'll take on I-35 at 3:30 today. Van Meter and Central Springs at 5:30. The other 2A semifinal called Strike, 2-1 the count.
That I-35 team, the videos I saw, they're the most electric team. I mean, they look like they could tear the house down every time they're in the dugout. Really fun team to watch.
Paul Bird calls for timeout. He stands on the grass where the grass meets the infield on the third base line and needed to readjust the bag. And that is bunted foul. Tom Sullivan over at first, and J.D. Hugestrat calling balls and strikes behind home plate.
That's the first time this week I've had to see someone adjust the bag. That's different.
A little bit of rosin. Speaking of bags, Molly Breeding gets her fingers set. 2-2 the count. 1 out, comes home with it and misses outside. As awaiting there was Wills. Wills, like Doster ahead of her, also singled and scored. She was knocked in by Maggie Elsbecker. Elsbecker with an RBI single back in the second.
It's interesting. The state doesn't provide the rosin. It's a team-by-team basis.
Off the mark, and that will be a walk. So Wills reaches first safely both times, and it's not what you want to hear if you're a Winterset fan, as it means that the second and third time through the order, the top of the order for the Dodgers, has had at least one runner on base.
Plus side is you do have that 1 out that you can bank on. But yeah, especially with the way that McCaleb has been playing, both defensively and offensively, not the person you want to see.
Laying off that one is McCaleb to finish out what is left. Martinsdale St. Mary's will take on Wayne at 7 o'clock tonight in the 1A semifinal. Martinsdale St. Mary's a 1 seed, but just got by the skin of their teeth over Fort Dodge St. Edmund 1-0. Breeding looks in, is set, showing bunt. McCaleb pulls it back. The throw is not in time. It was a good effort, but Wills gets the stolen base. And now they've got 1 out and a runner on second. We'll take a look at this replay. Great jump right off the bag and then slipped around the tag, but then Applegate reapplies it, thinking that maybe there's a chance Wills peels off the bag. And boy, my back and shoulders hurt just looking at that, but that was a great display of holding onto the bag and then just outstretching and hanging on for dear life. This is probably a reference too young for you, but the Sylvester Stallone film Cliffhanger comes to mind as she was just holding on to that second base bag for dear life. 2-1 the count, and getting the call from the third base side is McCaleb. She's got Elsbecker due up next. Chop to the the third baseman who throws, and now they've got the runner in a pickle. They'll fire, apply the tag, and she is out there. So for a while, it looked like Bailey Acton had about 8 things going through her mind, and eventually comes to, well, if I'm waiting on that throw, maybe now the runner is going to get there at first. And it works out because you want the lead runner.
Yeah.
In essence, with Michaela in the rundown, ends up getting to second on the fielder's choice. It's almost like as good as a strikeout. Now you just swap Wills and Michaela.
That's about the best case scenario. Keep the runner away from third. Could have been ugly, but she was able to settle down and get a big play.
And a nice job of everybody there knowing exactly what to do, where to be, as Acton threw over to Olson, then to Applegate for the putout. And obviously the tag needed to be applied there. 0-1 the count, 2 down. And trying to keep things going for the Dodgers is Ellsbecker.
Reading's been, I don't know if she likes going there, but the outside corner has been where her pitches are headed. That's where her strikeouts have been, but not really trying to jam batters by any way.
1-1 the count. Breeding delivers low. It's knocked down. It gets away from the catcher. There'll be a throw at third, and safe in there is McCaleb, and forms a similar pose that we saw from Wills at second, but she's able to hold on and puts herself that much closer to being the 4th run for Fort Dodge.
That was the best throw. I mean, that Akers could have done, just missed the tag.
A strike call, that'll bring the count to 2-2. So if Breeding can get the next pitch here in her favor, McCaleb at third ends up being a moot point.
Wind is really picked up for the most part here. 8 miles an hour to the northeast.
Breeding comes home with it. Swing and a miss.
Huge.
And Ellsbecker goes down swinging. McCaleb ends up being the 5th runner stranded on the base paths. We will head to the 5th inning. It's a 3-2 game in favor of Fort Dodge. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
In Iowa, we all play by the same rules. Hard work pays off, practice makes perfect, success is something you earn, and teamwork helps us all be winners. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics. Because on our team and on yours, what we bring to the table is what brings us all together. Learn more about our commitment to Iowa at iowapork.org.
Hey fans, Central College has you covered with career-building programs. And with tuition less than $20,000 a year and tons of scholarships, it's the best decision ever. Apply today at central.edu. Forever Dutch are Central College, and we have the Huskies taking on the Dodgers here in Class 4A semifinal action. Winterset with a 26-12 record. They're the 7th seed, and the visitors, the Fort Dodge Dodgers, the home team in several aspects here in Fort Dodge, with a record of 32-9. And Lucy Porter gets back out there, starts things off. A swing. Wills will flip to first, and Brown records the out. And I was just about to say that Porter has had almost no issues the first 2 times through the order. The Winterset squad able to put together a rally in the 3rd, but other than that, it's been quiet for the Huskies offense.
And things have quieted down for Fort Dodge offensively as well. So both teams, I think, are settling in here, but top of the batting order here. This has been a little bit tough here for that Fort Dodge defense.
Avery Darling comes to the plate and takes a look at a pitch close.
Older brother was one of the best running backs to go through Winterset, a breaker of school records at running back.
Chop to the right side. Will it drop in? No, held on to as running up to make the play was Lydia Lara, and we've quickly got 2 down in the top half of the 5th.
That's deflating, isn't it? I mean, you're down by 1. You're trying to string it together a couple runs, and just like that, you got 2 outs. And your number 2 hitter here could maybe get something going, but nobody likes having 2 outs.
It is Olson who comes home with it, fouls it back. You talk about Winterset needing to rely on that top portion of the order, but I mean, really throughout, Porter's been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
The top 3 batters in the order have combined to go 2 for 7. Olson, however, does have one of those hits and hits one out to left field, held onto by Tooney, and they go down in order 1, 2, 3. The corner outfielders tested in the 5th, but no runs on no hits, nobody left on base. We'll come back with the bottom of the 5th. 3-2, Fort Dodge on top. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Living your best life means something different to everyone, especially when it comes to healthcare. That's why Mercy One offers compassionate, personalized care. We are here for you with one team of experts, providing access to the primary care and highly rated specialty care you need, easily and conveniently. So go ahead, live your best life. We're with you every step of the way. Mercy One, your best life, our one purpose.
Welcome back here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Bottom of the 5th. Coming up, my name is Eric Zamora, providing the play-by-play. Blake Walker, our color commentator. Randy Nielsen, keeping us on time as our engineer and producer. And Aaron Bandy is our camera operator. Breeding starts things off with a strike. And you go back and look at her brief stint at first, and boy, you have to give credit to Steve Corcoran. Both putting in Acton and putting Breeding back in have seemed to work out well for the Huskies.
It's, as a pitching coach, he's a pitcher whisperer, if you will. I mean, he just knows. He knows his girls. He knows when they're struggling. He knows when to pull them and change them out. That was huge. And like you said, I like that analogy, that Band-Aid that Acton was. Just quickly, let's just calm down just a little bit, get Breeding settled back in. Now, though, I don't know about you, it just feels like some team is due for a big explosion here.
Breeding ahead on all set, 0-2. The second one fouled off. This one hit to straightaway center. Adkins backing up and makes the grab for out number 1.
I don't think they're going to be too unhappy if we have a couple quick outs here. Winterset needs a couple here because has Fort Dodge almost put someone on base almost every single time, it feels like, these innings?
Yeah, as we had 3 base runners in the first for the Dodgers, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. So they have, depending on how you look at it for Winterset, both good and bad. They've stranded runners in every single inning. That also means that we've yet to see a 3-up, 3-down out of Winterset.
And for the Dodgers, that's so frustrating, especially if you can't get away with the win today, because then you look back and that stat just glares at you.
3 runs on 6 hits, 5 left on base, and 1 error committed for the Fort Dodge Dodgers as Mackenzie McElrath takes a look at the 1-0 pitch, and the bottom falls out. It's 2-0. For Winterset, they have 2 runs on 4 hits. They've stranded 3, but have yet to commit an error. Breeding is looking in, sets herself, delivers, and didn't miss by much on those last 2, but ifs and buts, we're still looking at a 3-0 count.
Yeah, and this is not a bad at-bat here because you kind of expect a meatball right down the middle here just to get a strike because the last thing you want to do is give up a walk. So interesting spot here for the Dodgers.
We'll see if McElrath has the green light or if she's taken the whole way. She looked to be taken the whole way. That was a good pitch, but probably statistically a good play to say, hey, just force her to throw one, even if it's down the middle, and see if maybe she doesn't miss.
And McKenzie knows what she's doing. 283 hitter, 11 RBIs this season. Now on this one, too, do you even pull the bat off the shoulders?
McElrath, a junior.
Yes,
she does, and hits it out to right center field. That's going to hit off of the wall, and she will slide in, although it wasn't necessary, as McElrath gets second on the double, and that ends up being a Kruger Seeds extra base hit. Your local seeds dealer is Kruger Seeds. Visit Kruger, that's Kruger, seed.com. Visit them today.
And that was the green light. I mean, it's a 3-1 pitch. You might as well swing at it. Worst you can do is go down for strike two. Best hit of the day by far that we've seen. And now the trend continues. Fort Dodge once again has a runner on the base pass.
Fantastic look at that as that one hits the sign that is third from the right of dead center field. And so a good swing of the bat there. I like that aggression. I'm not a fan of going into a situation 3-1 and taking the whole way because aren't you trying to get the count in your favor to get better pitches? And she got that one there, didn't miss. This one is popped up. It won't get far. It'll stay in fair territory, and it hits, and they're unable to come up with it. So holding up was McElrath, but advancing to first was Tooney.
No.
What is the conversation here? Are they saying that it was
I'm not sure.
touched foul?
That's my assumption. Coach Corcoran's trying to figure out as well. Because it sure did seem like it was fair.
It looked like it bounced fair. I'm wondering if you'd think if there was any sort of collision there that there would have been a call going against Tooney. So Tooney will stay in. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, we've got a pitching substitution. As you mentioned, head coach Steve Corcoran, he's going to make a change here. And no surprise, it's going to be Bryn Acton coming back in. This is an IMT insurance substitution. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com.
Yeah, that's a tough play for Akers. She's lucky that it's not a runner on to first, but the thing just kind of hung in the air and then came back and just couldn't hang on. But for Fort Dodge, you wonder, does this, is it interesting to have to face two pitchers back, different? You can't get in a groove with one pitcher. You're like, oh, here's a new one,
I'm surprised, maybe not at the professional level, but at the high school and college level, you don't see this more with quarterbacks because you can have two quarterbacks with varying different styles and have the defense go, wait, we just got, settled down on 10. Now you bring in 14, and it changes the game. Speaking of having to deal with it in the midst of an at-bat, and I saw that yesterday with a count of 3-0, and then the batter took the next pitch. But a 1-1, this is difficult to face two different pitchers in your same at-bat, and literally halfway through right now, as the first two thrown by Breeding, the second two by Acton, they both end up with the same results. 2 1-1 counts gets us to 2-2, and now Tooney, who has a strikeout and a sacrifice in the contest, pokes that one away and got that with just the tip of her bat, keeps herself alive.
Feels like we're just seeing a chess match between Coach Corcoran and Coach Adams because, they're playing with each other, both on the base paths and in the pitching side. They know how tight this game is and how one run could really change it.
Big swing, and Tooney unable to catch up with that one. So she goes down on a strikeout. And that is going to be the second of the game for Acton, as Breeding had the first three.
Big spot here. He's still got a runner on second. One good base hit here could bring in a run.
Takes a look at a pitch low in the zone for strike one. And I don't want to short anybody, actually breeding with 4 as Corcoran makes us do our homework, having to put the asterisks in and remember where the pitching changes came. But Lydia Lara trying to see if she can't keep this inning alive for her squad and see if she can't do some damage after coming up with a big out defensively in the top half of this inning. Smokes one, knocked down by the glove, will make a throw in time! What a play by the second baseman. Olsen dives over to her right and then fires into the glove of Molly Breeding. We'll hold for the replay. Fantastic job by Randy Nielsen to get this set up in time. And what an absolute play. 6th inning coming up, 3-2 the score. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
Slate's the place for you!
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. And that old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
And we're going to take one more look at that play here in just a moment as the first offering is outside. But a fantastic job diving over was McKenna Olsen, just an 8th grader, and she's able to record the out. Difficult enough to make a play on the ball. I thought she was going to bat it down at best. Gets it cleanly into her glove and then has the wherewithal to turn, fire, and get the out at first. Porter with a 2-0 count. And it's fouled back by Jenna Young, as you had mentioned, the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Iowa. And a young woman with a bright future who has had to battle through a setback, but seems to be no worse for the wear as she hits this one out deep to center field, and it's gone! Not just a home run, but a game-tying dinger. She'll touch them all as all of her teammates are there to cheer her on, and Young, with one swing of the bat on a 2-0 count, she has made it a 3-3 ball game.
Back like she never left. Welcome back, Jenna Young. First home run of the 2023 season. This is a no-doubter by the senior. Man, that's got to feel good. Also, Coach Renee Gillespie's here from the University of Iowa softball program. Man, that is a huge shot by Jenna Young.
Not to get lost in that was an extra base hit, which is brought to you by Kruger Seeds, your local seeds dealer. Visit KrugerSeed.com today. This one is hit to the Fleet Feet sign out in right field, and we've got back-to-back Kruger Seed extra base hits, and Winterset is cooking. And if you go back to the last play of the 5th inning, 3 absolutely huge plays in a row for the Huskies, and they're still in this game as they've now got the go-ahead run in scoring position with nobody out. Oh, by the way, they've got Applegate batting north of 450 coming up next.
The momentum has absolutely shifted. That Olsen grab and throw on to first was the game changer. Soderberg's going to come on and run for Acton. I mean, this is just new life for this Winterset team. The defending state champions have shown up here in the class for a semifinal.
Lucy Porter, a sophomore, the only other pitcher they've had this season, Lydia Lara, but I don't expect 7 to come off anytime soon, as they're going to let her finish what she started. And Applegate taking a couple of healthy cuts before she steps into the box, and she is looking to advance that runner. She will foul this up and over the third base side, out of play, and it goes for a long strike.
I tell you what, Eric, this is also not the person that you want to see. This is basically the next Jenna Young that's up to bat here in Neela Applegate, who has the power that she does. This is just a tough part of the lineup for Fort Dodge to go through, with Applegate right here, then Acton, then you had Jenna Young.
And it tells you how good this Husky squad is that Applegate is batting 5th, leads the team in batting average, walks, runs, hits, and home runs on the season. So you're right. If there was a batter that the Fort Dodge side would like to see up right now, it's not 12.
No.
Right now, Lucy Porter just trying to calm down and bring things back. Showing bunt, pulling back, and it evens the count at 1-1 as that one was low and in the dirt.
It feels crazy because Winterset was put as a 7th seed. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year. They didn't have Jenna Young on a year. In some ways, this could have been the championship game for how good these two teams are now that Jenna Young's back with the Huskies.
Winterset representing Madison County. And as you mentioned, you can say, well, the squad won the championship last year. How are they the 7th seed? It's because of how many of those players that were so big in those critical games are no longer with the team. But it's not like this squad wasn't here. They might not have all been in the starting lineup, but there is something to be said. And quite honestly, I like the fact that Winterset was kind of seeded roughly. A record that includes 12 losses is a little bit tough, but you take a look at it, and it's that X factor. It's the thing that doesn't factor in. You only want to grade Winterset on the 2023 version of them when figuring out the seeding. This one has popped up into foul territory, running over, cutting back, and making the catch was Tooney. Tooney, as you mentioned, that breeze coming in from left to right, and it looked like for a second she overran it. But what a huge out. It's the first out of the inning, and it's Applegate specifically. That's almost worth 2 in the bank if you're talking from the Dodgers' perspective.
Yeah, it is. And conditions are changing quick. It's starting to become fully overcast. We're expecting rain here in about 20 to 30 minutes, so field changes.
Popped up by Breeding.
And only just 1 out. So, I mean, you could still get a sacrifice over to third. And Breeding has home run power. She's got 2 on the season.
Looking in is Porter. And lays off of that one. That'll bring the count even to 1-1.
And for Fort Dodge, this is a big spot. You just got to settle down. You're only tied. It's not like you've lost the lead or anything. And you're in the bottom, or you're in the top of the 6th, still get 2 chances.
You do get last at bat being the home team, but it has to be deflating. It's a big difference if we were looking at a situation where they had come from behind, but it hurts and it stings to lose that lead, but nothing you can do about it now. Knocked down by the catcher. She'll throw to third, but there's not really a play there as Acton now has herself at third with 1 out, and that changes the dynamic so much. They're not related, but with Applegate flying out to left field in foul territory, but Acton picking up the extra base, it's almost as good as a sacrifice there. Hit out to left field. This should give them the lead. The tag up. They'll throw to the third baseman. No need to throw home, as sliding in for Winterset was Allie Soderberg running for Acton. And we have got ourselves a lead change with Winterset now on top, 4-3.
The student section's motto at Winterset is "In Cork We Trust," and I truly believe that, because that chance to Soderberg to go on to third on that, quote, wild pitch or the drop of the pitch That's not usually what they do, but Corcoran saw the opportunity, gave it to third. That's what gives you the opportunity on the sacrifice.
And IMT Insurance substitution with Soderberg running for Acton. And, well, it all works out in the wash as Winterset has been trailing for a good part of this game, really the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they now have, they don't ask, how much of the game were you leading? They ask who is on top when it records as a final. The number of times over the years I've seen a hockey game where the only time a team led was in overtime, but that's when it counts. And right here, top of the 6th inning, they've got a lot of work to do as Fort Dodge still has 6 outs coming their way, but they have put themselves in the driver's seat, and it's always a good feeling when you know we don't need to generate any more offense. As long as we put up a couple of more zeros, we're moving on.
Yeah, it's pretty important here. Acton, big at-bat here to at least extend the inning. Don't go down.
Fouls that one back. The Fort Dodge squad also a returner. In fact, this is their 6th straight appearance. And they won the 5A title in 2021. Now trying to come up with the 4A title and trying to dig themselves out of this hole that has presented itself in the 6th inning. But as you pointed out, if you're the Dodgers, really, if you're both of these teams, you've got so much experience in big moments that you're not going to get rattled as easily as maybe a new team to that spotlight would be.
Yeah, and Fort Dodge, you've played the best. You lost in the 5A title game last year. You moved down a class. It's not easier by any means, but you're still in a class and at a championship.
Ripped down the left field side, and we've seen that with the last 2 batters, Applegate and Breeding, hitting it down that left field side. Applegate foul, Breeding fair, and both were caught, but it ended up working out for Winterset as they now enjoy a 1-run lead.
That landed right on the light box out there next, or connected to the light pole. I don't think that softball is going to be used because I bet it took a nice chunk.
Porter looks in, goes low, and 2-2 the count to Bailey Acton. Acton flew out to the third baseman. Her first time up, she reached in the 4th inning on a fielder's choice. That was hit to the shortstop all-stop. That one gets away. And Acton trying to say that one hit off of her foot.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the umpire saw. I could have swore that hit her.
It did take a huge change in direction. And I'll be honest, from my vantage point, didn't see the contact, but would not have been surprised. Now, if you're Bailey Acton, you just have to shrug that off. You can't get caught up in your emotions thinking you should already be at first. And she doesn't. She lays off that pitch. And it's all the same for Winterset as they have their 3rd base runner of the contest. It's the first one who didn't hit herself on, but right now they'll take it in any form. And coming up is going to be Akers. I had to be sure.
She is
because
bad, yes.
We have seen Summer Little fall in and hit for her, but it's going to be Akers with Bailey Acton, the third baseman, at first.
And one thing I think with Porter, you saw that home run, so I think she's rethinking or overthinking, because I don't know if you've noticed, Eric, her pitches are now low. She's not even flirting with the top of or even the middle of the zone. She doesn't want to get sent out of the park again. So if I'm Akers, don't really expect anything upstairs.
Yeah, and we'll see, though, if that is personalized. We'll see if that's batter to batter. But you're right. As a whole, her style has changed so much in the last 4 batters, now the 5th, and this is popped up to left field. Tooney will drift over to left center and comes up with her. She had all 3 outs in the inning, but Winterset scores 2 runs on 2 hits. They strand 1, and we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning with them on top 4-3. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Welcome back here with you live for the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Bottom of the 6th, and you see a sea of pink and salmon and some white in there. We're showing the Winterset Huskies cheering squad, and they have been relentless all game, regardless of the situation. But they have had a little more pep in their step over the last few minutes, as their squad now enjoys a 4-3 lead over the Fort Dodge Dodgers.
It's been a fun game so far. I mean, this has been one of the best games I've seen of the tournament so far. Both these two teams are such highly state championship caliber programs. Going to be interesting here as we go throughout this one. Still got a little more time to go. Acton still in the circle. Dodgers looking for a couple hits. Again, they haven't scored in a bit.
We have to make that differentiation because obviously the coaching staff has been comfortable moving Breeding and Acton back and forth between one another. That one slips under the glove of Acton and will roll out into first. So Macy Brown wastes no time getting on base, and that will bring up Ellie Doster.
And just like that, Eric, if I'm correct, the trend continues. They have had a runner on base every single inning.
Yes, they have. In fact, not only that, but I'm looking through my notes. They've also had a runner on in the first 2 batters in every inning. So they have yet to even have to settle for, the first 2 are retired, and then they have to start a 2-out rally every time. And that's going to wear on you. It's the situation with the Fort Dodge having as potent of an offense as they've had. It brings up the comparison of if you go on a long drive, 8, 10, 12 hours, and you're always on a heightened sense of being alert, having to, be in a tough spot. That's kind of what it's like when you keep putting runners on early in the inning. Yeah, you're able to get out of some jams, but it's also going to have you kind of, clutching your fists a little bit, and it's going to make for an anxious and nervous day for sure.
One thing to think about that 5A, 4A, and I guess 2 teams in 3A have an advantage for, you had a day break. I mean, you had yesterday off, so you'd expect pretty fresh legs all across. Stamina shouldn't be too big of a problem for either of these teams.
With Doster, we see as she hits one and finds the gap just to the right of McKenna Olson, the second baseman. Back-to-back singles. I was going to say that the camera wasn't able to pick it up, but the look of determination on her face, both times she squared away and then pulled back, it looked like she thought that I'd stolen something from her because she just had this look of determination, and it pays off as she will get to first safely, and then she will have an IMT insurance substitution. Running for her will be Madison Hoshaw.
And this is such a big inning defensively for Winterset because it's amazing how you can just get smacked right here because after this is it. You only got 3 more outs on offense if you're Winterset. So you have to hold everything tight here or else Fort Dodge can easily jump ahead and all momentum's on their side.
Pulling back at the last second to the offering was Ashlyn Wills. We've talked about the full complement of coaches for Fort Dodge. Should mention for Winterset. We've talked about Steve Corcoran, but the ACs, Jennifer Devine, Abby Williams, Taylor Benchoof, and Anita Smith. That one off the mark upstairs, and now all of a sudden a situation where Bryn Acton in back-to-back pitches can't find the strike zone, and she's really gotten nowhere to go with first and second already being occupied.
Yeah, this is where Akers has to be on her A game, because if the runner goes, you can at least try to jam them.
Lays off, but it's a called strike, just clipping that outside corner.
And one thing about Fort Dodge I'm seeing here in the box, so Wills, when she bunts or holds back, she kind of steps forward. She forces Akers to get out of the box a little bit and make a throw. It's borderline interference.
Big cut there, unable to catch up to it is Wills. And this changes the dynamic so much if Acton can pick up a strikeout here.
Need a big out here if you're Winterset.
Poked out to the right field side over the fence, and no opportunity for anything but both sides to go back to the same spot and do it again. Acton and Breeding have combined for 6 strikeouts, and none would be bigger than if they can find a way to punch out the sophomore Wills without allowing the runners to advance. Full count. Fouled back, and we'll go and do it again. Over on the other field, we do have the Class 5A game just getting underway. It's Muscatine and Pleasant Valley. No score there, but early in the game, top of the first, just a couple of outs recorded.
Two teams that had to make really long drives up to Fort Dodge.
Wills chops that to the second baseman. They'll make a play at second. That records the out, but now runners on the corners as Wills will reach on the fielder's choice.
You got a speedy Alexander here at third base if you're Fort Dodge, so this is about the best case scenario here, especially with McCaleb up to bat. And her ability to get the ball, or get the bat on the ball, good chance for a sacrifice.
So Hoshaw is retired. Standing at third, acting as the go-ahead run, is Alexander. And indifference shown as Wills will steal second.
That's the given. Almost 99% of the time that's going to happen.
So Wills at second, Naomi Alexander at first, and Mia McCaleb has an RBI, does not have a hit in the contest. And Winterset wants to know where that one was. We have a good view, and it was a little off the plate, but not by much.
No. Strike zone's been a little bit across here today. Sometimes it's the corner, sometimes it's the edge. Just got to kind of play with it. You got to adjust. It moves.
That one fouled back. She'll find herself in a 1-2 count.
Such a big at-bat here. You get that second out, you eliminate it. If you want an out, you hope it's a strikeout or a pop-out.
Elsbecker is due up next. She is 1-2 with a walk.
Ooh,
upstairs, and McCaleb lays off of it. It's 2-2.
Akers saved that thing.
Winner of this one moves on to take on North Scott or Norwalk. As that one was fouled out of play. We're here on the Iowa Central field. Fort Dodge plays their home games right next door over on the Kruger Seeds field. And they're hoping they'll get one more game on their home turf, as that means they would be advancing to the championship game tomorrow at 7:30. The team that doesn't come away victorious today will play in the third place game at 6. That is fouled and held onto by Akers. Akers with a huge snag there. That was not an easy play to walk that one into her glove, but it's a big out for Winterset. And this is what's so great about softball. Unlike some other games where you can only score one at a time, it's an absolute flip here. If Fort Dodge doesn't get the runs in and gets punched out, they find themselves down by 1. But right now, Maggie Elsbecker, with the bat on her shoulders, has the opportunity to leapfrog Winterset with one good swing and could make it a 5-4 game. Looking in is Acton. It's fouled back and quickly ahead in the count, 0-2.
Yeah, just like that, quickly behind. And now, as a batter, this is a tough spot. You know the runners at second and third. You know you're one hit away from blowing or getting this lead back or possibly tying. But you got to stay patient here.
Acton has 3 strikeouts in the game. This one is poked out to the right side, but McKenna Olson, well, we saw what she could do last inning. For her, that was routine, but it wasn't routine in the situation as it strands 2 runners. We'll go to the 7th inning. Winterset on top 4-3. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
Oh, boy.
Hello, I'm Brent Johnson, an Iowa farmer from Calhoun County and president of the Iowa Farm Bureau. As proud title sponsor of the state softball tournament, the Iowa Farm Bureau is dedicated to creating a vibrant future for Iowa through partnerships and programs that help cultivate individuals with great character, a strong work ethic, and exceptional leadership skills. Making it to the state tournament is a great accomplishment that takes a lot of support. That's why we provide millions of dollars in awards, grants, and scholarships that recognize athletic and academic excellence. The well-being of Iowa students is also very important to Farm Bureau. That's why we provide concussion insurance coverage at no cost for all students in grades 9 through 12 who participate in a sanctioned sport. As just one of only 7 states to provide this coverage, it's just another way we're striving to support Iowa's outstanding young leaders. So, from the Iowa Farm Bureau, congratulations to all the players and coaches on an outstanding season, and good luck in the tournament.
Welcome back. Here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy, as this one is fouled. And we would like to remind you that the Girls Union Network takes no responsibility in hairs pulled, as this one is a tight one. Winterset on top by the slimmest of margins, and they'd love to extend that lead. A big cut by Devine. That is going to be not held onto. I was about to say Ashlyn Wills dove, caught it in her glove, and then like a wide receiver going for the end zone, that ground can cause the fumble. And boy, just an outstanding piece of hitting there by Devine. It looked like she found the gap, and in essence she did, because Wills unable to hold on through it. They'll score that as a really rough error. I'd give her the benefit of the doubt, as Wills made an outstanding play to even have a chance at that. I would not have been surprised if we'd seen her just watch that one drop over her head.
If you're a trends guy, that's a good start for Winterset.
A diving play made by Porter, and this one is held onto, and it retires Avery Darling with 1 pitch.
The reason I say that, also, she was probably going to be out, because if she had the catch, the runner on first wasn't going. Take a look at the replay there. Great catch. Last time that Devine got on, Winterset, if I remember correctly, that's that inning that they started blowing up, because you get here at the top of the batting order.
That's a tough spot for Devine to decide what to do, and she played it right. You take a couple of steps off and then move back over, but you're right. If that falls in, then she has to make sure that Porter doesn't jump up and throw her out. That was wow! But it ends up being the situation we were just talking about. There, you're probably thinking, I should go maybe halfway, because those two out in left and third base short. That I guess the three of them converging.
We're about to see an intentional walk.
You normally would see a situation there where if they did come up with that catch, I think they would have been so thrilled that they had the out that they're not thinking now we're going to double her up at first. So you don't see that too often, but it's a 7-4 put out, and it in essence works the same as if they had caught the fly ball.
Well, in the wind, that off the bat was like, it's going to be foul, and then it just drops. I thought for a second Coach Adams was going to walk Young here, but looks like she's going to pitch to her.
And a great job by Tooney to not go, we dropped that, oh well, but to have the wherewithal and the heads up to say, hey, where's the base runner?
Yeah.
I think I can get her. And then same thing with Wills. Obviously, a ball hit over there, you're always, as a second baseman, going to get over to second. But she didn't get frustrated and go, we let one slip away.
Yeah.
And in essence, it all comes out the same.
You think we see a pitch down the middle here? Or you think they go out and away?
I think they go low. I think the knees is going to be about as high as they intend to go, but obviously the difference between idea and execution can be different. Jenny Young, as we mentioned, a home run to start the 6th inning. She's back up in the 7th with her squad clinging to a 1-run lead. Left-handed batter, and they do pitch her outside. It's 2-1.
I would say it's not a bad walk here by any means. You got Bailey Acton on deck. I don't know, this is an interesting spot.
They're going to be careful for sure. This might be the result they were looking for. A pop-up, and for the second time in the inning, Porter watches one into her glove, but the Dodgers have their work cut out for them. They trail 4-3. They need at least one here in the bottom of the 7th. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The Iowa Farm Bureau is proud to present the state softball tournament and celebrate the accomplishments of Iowa's student athletes. To the Iowa Farm Bureau, this is more than just a sport. It's hometown pride, it's hopes and dreams, it's our future leaders. It's a reason to do more and be more. And it's that farm-strong spirit that can only be found in Iowa. Congratulations to the student athletes and coaches on an outstanding softball season. And remember, today's successes are just the beginning of tomorrow's achievements.
Welcome back here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Well, both sides know what they need. Fort Dodge needs at least one to extend the game, 2 to win it. As missing upstairs is Acton. Winterset knows they're 3 outs away from a date in the championship game. And tensions high on both sides. 1-0 the count. Allstock rips that one foul. She is, as we had mentioned earlier, an 8th grader. So is Ellie Doster, who's been catching Lucy Porter for the Dodgers. So both of these squads relying heavily on underclassmen. Outside is the pitch for Akers, who tried to frame that, unable to. The Dodgers will lose to graduation Elsbecker and Lara in the outfield, and that's it for their starting 10. Hit down the right field side. The only other upperclassmen, Macy Brown at first, and Kenzie McElrath, the designated player. So, good chance we might see these Dodgers making a run for the state tournament again next year, but they're not worried about 2024. They're trying to find a way to get somebody on base.
Which they've been able to do.
Have been able to do every inning thus far. Acton is a sophomore. Count is full and misses, and now the ball gets away. Trotting down to first is Allstott, and quite honestly, because the ball got away, I thought maybe she would race down and take a look at her options, but I think she would have just tired herself out as Akers was able to collect that in plenty of time.
And this has been big, but, ever since that 3-0 spurt, Eric, Winterset hasn't been bothered with a runner on first. I mean, we've seen this before. This is just deja vu from what we've seen.
And you and I both liked the chess match, the decisions. And it's interesting to think about at any point Breeding could switch spots with Acton again. That's going to be a called strike on the inside corner.
Breeding immediately looked to the dugout after that first ball, and she was like, I'm ready. If you need me, I'm ready.
0-1 the count. The batter is McElrath. And coming into the week, batting .296. She's 3 for 3 today. So I'd imagine her batting average has gone over the 300 mark. Bunted down. Breeding on her knees, flips over in time. The runner will advance to third. The ball gets away. And coming in to score and tie things up is Hope Allstott. You gotta hope, you gotta believe that's exactly what the Dodgers did. And now, nobody on base, but Cadence Tooney will come up with an opportunity to try to get on base and represent the game-winning run.
Oh, man, just a mistake. I mean, just a simple mistake. You weren't going to get the runner back at third, and I know you wanted it because it's better, but why not at least force them to get home? Just a simple mistake by Winterset to try to get that play across the diamond. They barely got the play at first base.
So Breeding picks it up, flips over to Olsen, and I mean, that's a 2-for-1 if you think about it.
Yeah.
The way that the Dodgers were running there with Allstott, and I've talked about her being a 5-tool player, but not to take away from any other part of her game, I think her speed might be the best of them.
Yeah.
And so you'll take that exchange 11 times out of 10 if you know that you can have McElrath lay down a bunt and it advances the runner from first to third, just sacrificing the first out of the game. You're thrilled with that exchange, and it works out even better. She gets 3 bases on the sack.
I mean, coulda, woulda, shoulda. A lot of that situation there, and that's Winterset's first error. Fort Dodge takes advantage. Dodgers got a chance to walk this thing off. Ooh.
A swing and a miss, and Tooney goes down. Interesting to note that Tooney twice was the first batter to see Acton. She had a sac play the one time she saw Breeding, but was fanned by Acton all 3 times. 2 outs in the inning. Lydia Lara comes up to bat. She'll pop this one up, and that's going to hit the seats in front of us. Oh, nice catch.
What in the
as
world?
My counterpart, Blake, finds that one. It drops through. I think they'll notice with the cameras on if you try to pocket it. So best to return it like all the fans have to. It ends up being an exciting strike one. 0-1 the count. Popped up. Underneath it is Olsen. And for the 3rd time for me in 2 days, hey, why not? Bonus
What's
softball
up with you?
on your way. 4-4, we go to the 8th. It's Winterset and Fort Dodge. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The Iowa Farm Bureau is proud to present the state softball tournament and celebrate the accomplishments of Iowa's student athletes. To the Iowa Farm Bureau, this is more than just a sport. It's hometown pride, it's hopes and dreams, it's our future leaders. It's a reason to do more and be more. And it's that farm strong spirit that can only be found in Iowa. Congratulations to the student athletes and coaches on an outstanding softball season. And remember, today's successes are just the beginning of tomorrow's achievements.
Welcome back, here with you live in the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy, as we get ready for the 8th inning, and that one takes in a fortuitous bounce for Winterset. Macy Brown, the southpaw, goes to the backhand, had it low, and it took a hop, skip, and a jump. It leaped over her glove, and any way they can, Winterset looking to get somebody on base. It's Bryn Acton who gets the seeing eye single, and we will quickly have a courtesy runner in for Acton, and that's an IMT insurance substitution. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com.
Yep, so you put Soderberg, the senior, out there. Soderberg played quite a bit to start the season, but kind of moved back down, stepped aside, and now gets to run here. And now you get Neela Applegate with no outs.
Neela Applegate pops this one up the elevator shaft in the foul section on the third base side, and that is going to be short order made of her by Mia McCaleb.
Pop-ups. They're the worst feeling in the world. Now you get Molly Breeding here. Like I said, home run power. And you got that runner on, so, you know, that's one hard part out of the way.
McCaleb has made a couple of really spectacular outs. That one, a routine one, but also in the biggest of moments. Anytime you get into an extra inning, then the situation, it mounts here as Breeding takes a look at strike two. Breeding had a big day on Monday at the plate, 3 for 4 with a run scored, and perhaps one of the reasons that she moved up in the batting order over Bailey Acton. 0-2, but lays off the outside offering from Lucy Porter.
That first pitch up at her face, and Corcoran kind of puts his shelf up in front of his face and said, all right, that's upstairs, don't swing. Next one was perfect, and she didn't swing. Got to be careful here, 1-2.
Hit out to the shortstop, diving over her shoulder was Allstott, and she climbed the ladder there and was able to pick that one off for an impressive out number 2.
8th grader showing up big. You talked about it. Defensively, very good. She's not even that tall, but makes a heck of a play.
Look out for the class of 2027, as we've seen a number of fantastic plays by the 8th graders, including the one wearing the equipment behind the plate right now. As that one misses inside, ball 1.
Yeah, that's just big. And Doster, I mean, 8th grade catcher, I mean, that's insane. Catchers are usually, you know, some of the most, they've been out there, they know what they're doing. So big for Fort Dodge.
Laying off of that is Bailey Acton. She's reached base twice, although one a fielder's choice, one a walk, so 0 for 2 in the contest. Akers in the on-deck circle. Looks like she'll come up instead of Little if we get there, but swinging at a low pitch and fouling it out. A 2-1 count. Acton not afraid to get dirty. In fact, you could even see as on the back left of her pants, it's got a little bit of a hole, probably sliding into second base at some point. This is going to be popped up and held onto by Lara, the right fielder. One hit, but no runs, one left on base, and we'll go to the bottom half of the 8th. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The Iowa Farm Bureau is proud to present the state softball tournament and celebrate the accomplishments of Iowa's student athletes. To the Iowa Farm Bureau, this is more than just a sport. It's hometown pride, it's hopes and dreams, it's our future leaders. It's a reason to do more and be more. And it's that farm strong spirit that can only be found in Iowa. Congratulations to the student athletes and coaches on an outstanding softball season. And remember, today's successes are just the beginning of tomorrow's achievements.
Welcome back, here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Bottom half of the 8th inning, Macy Brown, Elle Doster, and Ashlyn Wills due up. It's the 7-8-9 hitters. Acton stays out there on the rubber and misses outside and low. Akers wants to swamp out balls, found something she didn't like on that one. And Brown comes up for the 4th time in the game. A 1-for-3 record. She singled her last time up, ended up at 3rd, but they couldn't advance her.
Acton's keeping everything low. She's not really getting anything upstairs at all, and she's not getting calls down low because it's off the plate. So
2-0 the count. Brown looks and lays off that one. She is fired up. Yes, it's just 3, not the 4th, but she knows she's that close. Or perhaps thinking with a 3-0 or even a 3-1 count as the green light to try to put herself on base. Low ball 4, and she spikes the elbow guard as she emphatically runs down the first base side.
I love Coach Adams because she's so fired up. Like, she's screaming just as much as the girls are, and then she tells the next batter in line, Doster, hey, calm down. You know, we're okay.
Mixed, but that's the difference. Is you notice how the next person up is always cool, calm, collected, and the person who either just hit themselves on base or walks themselves on base is ready to jump through a wall.
Yeah, it reminds me of that video of Coach Hurley with UConn. He's going crazy, and then in the handshake line, then immediately calms himself down, goes on, calmly shakes the guy's hand.
Right now, no score between Muscatine and Pleasant Valley. They're in the top half of the 3rd inning. 4-4 the score here, bottom half of the 8th. Acton comes home with it, chopped, and that's going to find a gap. Now, they will hold up the runner Brown as that one was going to the right side. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had sent her, but with no outs, they figured better to play it safe than sorry. And now Wills will come up, and would not be surprised at all for her to just try to put something in play, but not too far, and move Brown halfway from where she needs to get to come away with the victory. We are going to have an IMT insurance substitution here as Doster comes out. Madison Hoshaw comes in, so 8th grader subbing for 8th grader. And substitutions in today's game are brought to you by IMT Insurance. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com. Both base runners and the batter will all head in to talk with the coaching staff. In fact, so will the on-deck hitter, Michaela, but it's going to be Ashlyn Wills, the sophomore, with the bat in her hand. And right now, Fort Dodge trying to dial up everything that they can. The Fort Dodge Dodgers cheering section, and as you pointed out, the grounds crew, loud and boisterous to our left. I'm a little bit surprised to not see a little bit more out of the Winterset side, just because when their team's been up, when their team's been down. But I think right now they're just a little bit shell-shocked. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing some noise from our right side as well here pretty soon as they try to back up and support their Huskies.
And this is a tough spot. I mean, I'd love to see percentages of when teams score, but runners on first and second with nobody out, it's a high percentage that you're going to score. And Coach Corcoran and both Adams both talking to their teams, but Corcoran just trying to tell his infield, here's what to expect, here's where you need to go first. Don't overthink anything.
Fort Dodge, 4 runs on 10 hits, 8 left on base. And a strike as pulling back on that was Wills. For the Huskies, 4 runs on 7 hits, 1 error, and 5 left on base.
Adams keeping it small ball here. She's not thinking. Fort Dodge, this is what I like here about the Dodgers. They're not thinking, let's just bomb this thing, let's go home. Let's keep it small. Do what we've done to get us around, and what got them the 3-0 lead. Just get around the base pass. You have no outs.
1-1 the score. Hit to the first baseman, Breeding, and throws back, not going to be in time. I'd love to take a look at this replay here in a second. I don't know if she would have had a play at first.
I don't think Olsen comes over in time. Ooh, I don't know. She probably would have had her at first.
Yeah.
She just immediately looked at the lead runner.
And the reason is because the runner at first for Fort Dodge, IGHSAU, has to stop her momentum dead in its tracks. I mean, let's be honest, most situations here, ball's on the bat and you're taken off. And I think that because of where Breeding's view was and seeing that she had maybe a chance at second, that was the difference. I think if she had caught it and saw out of her peripheral the runner in IGHSAU, it would have been a race back to the bag, and I don't know which way that would have gone.
So Corcoran's going to think again. I think, you got a runner, runner on first and second, now just 1 out. So you're a little bit different of a situation. I think he knows, as well as everybody in the stadium knows, that Fort Dodge, for any reason, is going to go to third. I mean, they're going to try to go to third. So I don't know if it's him saying, let's not make the same mistake we had and overshoot and we lose the game on an overthrow.
The understatement there is you talk about it's a little bit different of a situation. I think with runners at first and second, no outs and 1 out is a huge difference. And I don't want to undercut the fact that, we're sitting here talking about if only Breeding had been able to get 2 outs, but that first one was huge. Taking a look at the strike is McCaleb. And if somehow Winterset can get out of this, what a shot in the arm it would be, because you're looking at a situation where Fort Dodge has the next 2 batters due up, their leadoff and second hitter. Although, quite honestly, Winterset would love if they don't have to see Elsbecker, because they can find a way to turn a double play.
Yeah. That one just misses the top corner of the strike zone.
3-1 the count. I have a feeling McCaleb's got the green light, but she takes the whole way, and now the count goes full.
Boy, what an out this would be.
Mia McCaleb with the game on her shoulders. Swings and hits one out to left center field. It's caught. What an out by Maya Adkins. She races over to her right, and she's going to get the props shown to her by her outfield teammate. But, I mean,
that was ball game.
That was absolutely ball game, and Adkins had a great read on it off the bat. Little bit of a curl back to her that might have been off the bat, that might have been wind-induced, but they get the big out, and now it's Elsbecker with an opportunity to be the hero.
And she's a senior. I mean, this is what moment she's lived for. Coach Adams telling the runner on second, you got go. I mean, if she hits that ball, you run. Chance to move on to the state championship.
The one advantage here for Fort Dodge is that one gets away from Acton, held onto by Akers, is with 2 outs, there's no decisions to be made for the base runners. They're immediately racing to their next base, and quite honestly, if you are the runner at first, you can hold up there. This one is held onto by the shortstop, and like our leadoff Walker, she'll spike it on the rubber, and we will go to a ninth inning.
Gosh.
We'll take a quick look at this on the replay. Laced and diving over That one gets through.
That's the ball
game. So we'll go to the 9th, tied at 4. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The Iowa Farm Bureau is proud to present the state softball tournament and celebrate the accomplishments of Iowa's student athletes. To the Iowa Farm Bureau, this is more than just a sport. It's hometown pride, it's hopes and dreams, it's our future leaders. It's a reason to do more and be more. And it's that farm-strong spirit that can only be found in Iowa. Congratulations to the student athletes and coaches on an outstanding softball season. And remember, today's successes are just the beginning of tomorrow's achievements.
Welcome back, here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Top of the 9th inning, and taking a look at strike 1 is Carly Akers. The catcher has had 2 plate appearances. Summer Little batted for her. This is popped up to left field side. Tooney will take a couple of steps back, and that one drifts right into her glove for out number 1.
Boy, what a game. I mean, just defensive plays like we've never seen before. This is the first game to go to 9 innings here at the state tournament. It feels like a championship game the way these two teams are playing. Who comes up big?
Right fielder Ashlyn Devine pops this one foul.
A lot of first pitch swings.
This semifinal matchup, we'll see Northcott and Norwalk. Right now, both teams are going, hey, if you guys want to go like
let's
15,
wrap this or something.
No, I think go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
You want to wear them out, especially because they don't have that day off.
Yes,
this is
that's
one
true.
of the classes that plays tomorrow, not Friday. So for most teams who win a championship, it ends up being 3 games in 4 days.
Yep.
Depending on which side of the 3A bracket you're on, it might be 3 in 5. Upstairs, impatient at the dish, is Devine. She singled back in the 3rd, came around to score the first run for the Huskies. Also grounded out and reached on an error. Foul tip held onto by Doster. She'll dust that one off and throw it down to McCaleb for the celebration. 2 away.
How about Porter? I mean, I don't think we've talked about her enough, but, I mean, she has gone the whole distance today. She has pitched a great game, just not phased. I mean, she's just moving right along here. Back to the top of the order.
Back to the top of the order with Darling Olson due up next. And she'll keep an eye on that one.
Got a good part of your lineup here for Winterset if you can get Darling on.
Gives a healthy cut. I sometimes think that batters will try to swing heavier, as this one is popped up and unable to make the plays, McCaleb. And we've not said that often. She has been fantastic at the hot corner. But going back to finish that thought, I feel like sometimes batters, if there's nobody on and 2 out in the inning, they have bigger swings because they think, well, in order for us to get something going, I'm going to need to get an extra base hit here. But with Olson and Young due up next, I think you just pass the baton and try to get on any way you can. We chuckle as Doster there.
That was...
She's a saleswoman. Let's make sure that she gets in something where she can use those sales skills, but the home plate umpire not buying it. This is a diving catch by Allstott for out number 3. Bottom of the 9th coming your way with Fort Dodge an opportunity to win it. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future, with energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The Iowa Farm Bureau is proud to present the state softball tournament and celebrate the accomplishments of Iowa's student athletes. To the Iowa Farm Bureau, this is more than just a sport. It's hometown pride, it's hopes and dreams, it's our future leaders. It's a reason to do more and be more. And it's that farm-strong spirit that can only be found in Iowa. Congratulations to the student athletes and coaches on an outstanding softball season. And remember, today's successes are just the beginning of tomorrow's achievements.
Welcome back, here with you live on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Bottom of the 9th inning, and Hope Allstott comes up to bat. She scored after walking in the 7th. That is, in essence, the run that is the reason we are still here. She also singled back in the 1st. That helped move over Becker, who has eventually scored. Hit to the second baseman. Diving on it is Olsen, and makes the recovery in time. An awkward one as she went down, and then her knees and lower body, I thought she was going to end up on top of the ball, but still able to make the play to Breeding for the first downs.
I mean, we're just seeing defenses on lock. I mean, there's just been really no mistakes. Both teams have just absolutely clamped down on the infield. I don't know what's going to take to win this game.
Up at the dish is McElrath, and Kenzie takes a look at a called strike. 81 degrees with a few clouds, but it feels cooler than that, and that is because of the aforementioned breeze, which is to this point of the week at its peak here in extra innings. Upstairs and missing is Acton. That'll open up the count to 1-1. Right now, Pleasant Valley leading Muscatine 1-0 in the top of the 4th over in the 5A semifinal game. 1-1 the count. Smoked off the top of the first base dugout. And right now, Vegas has this as a pick'em as to which game ends first. The game over on the Kruger Seeds Field or us here at Iowa Central.
I thought you were about to actually give a legit numbers to the C or whatever, and I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Just missing upstairs is the pitch 2-2. Blake Walker, our color commentator, and doesn't have enough history with me to know that 84% of the things that come out of my mouth are made up on the spot. This is chopped foul.
Like that stat right there.
Well, 62% of all stats
there you go.
are made up on the spot. We have a 2-2 count still to McElrath. Batting .296 coming in. She's 3 for 4 in the contest. A couple of singles and a double, has not scored, but did knock in a run back in the 1st. Chops that one off of herself. So despite the fact that the ball ended up in fair territory, that off of the cleat of McElrath means that she gets back in the box for a 2-2 count once again.
I just feel like there's no advantage right now. You know, that last half inning, I'm like, well, this is it. Fort Dodge, you got 2 on, nobody out. And I don't know. Just wild.
Just missing. Winterset thought they had a strikeout there, and Acton all smiles in the situation.
She thought that was it.
3-2 the count goes. You talk about the chess match that this is, and the term here is stalemate. You're right. Neither team has been able to get some sort of advantage over the last couple of innings. Conversation with Adams to McElrath.
Everybody's kind of got to reset, you know. I think for McElrath, she thought that was a strike, you know, just the way she thought. So, I don't know. We'll see here. Big pitch, 3-2.
And hit down the first base side. Foul. And stays alive, does McElrath. Mackenzie McElrath, a junior, the designated player. Bryn Acton, a sophomore, started the game at first, then went to the mound, back to first, and back to the circle. Payoff pitch. And we'll do it again, as this one had some more elevation, but otherwise a similar foul ball to our last one.
If you're waiting for Norwalk and North Scott, well, I mean, you know what's happening. You're waiting on your opponents. Going to be quite delayed the rest of the day here on Iowa Central Field. Good luck calling that one. I hope for your sake it doesn't go to 8, because every single game you've called this week seems like it's gone to 8, or extras.
3 out of 7.
That's still the most. I think every extras game has been yours.
Popped up, and getting underneath it is the first baseman, breeding in foul territory, and she will hold on. We have not had out-and-out rainfall, but are starting to feel a little bit of misting, and we'll see how that factors in, certainly to the next game, and perhaps even this game as well.
This is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Dodgers have gone 2 quick outs and have not had a runner on first.
This is the first time that they find themselves in a situation where the first 2 batters are retired. So for Acton, she'd love to go 1, 2, 3 and move this game to double digits in innings.
Now, for the Huskies, you want this obviously to go to extras, but you got a good part of the lineup upcoming if you're Winterset, with Olson, Young, Applegate's in there, Acton's in there.
Outside pitch will bring the count to 2-0. Tooney does not care how. She just wants to end up on base, and she'll foul that one back. Brushing the next softball thrown into play is J.D. Hugestrat. Tom Sullivan making the calls down at first. Paul Bird in charge of the third base line. Tooney sacrificed, otherwise has struck out this contest. Lays off that one. That'll even the count at 2-2.
Now Acton's going high. She was low for a little bit. Now she's starting to pitch a little bit high. This was a green light pitch for Fort Dodge earlier. We'll see what happens here. Meanwhile, they are flying through the other game. They're now on the top of the 4th, it looks like, or either headed to the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, I think mid-4th is where we're at in that one with a 1-0 score. We'll confirm that in a moment. A tense moment, a little bit of a pause there, and now Tooney back in the box. Chops it right back to Acton. Acton fires to Breeding, and that 1-2-3 inning that had eluded the Huskies comes up at the perfect time for them. We'll head to the 10th. 4-4 the score. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
What's affordable to her might not be for him. Our means may be different, but our need for energy is the same. And keeping the price for that energy as low as possible is exactly what we strive to do. It's what we've always done. Investments made 10 years ago have kept prices nearly unchanged. Investments made today will help keep prices predictable for the future. With energy that's cleaner, reliable, and affordable for all. An energy future that's American-made. Mid-American. Obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
We are still here on the Girls Union Network powered by Mid-American Energy. We are still at the Iowa Central Field, home of the Class 4A first of 2 semifinal games. It's Winterset versus Fort Dodge, North Scott, and Norwalk. I think they're probably warmed up by now. This is a first pitch swung on by Olson. That finds a gap, and McKenna Olson, standing at first, represents the go-ahead run.
And you got Jenna Young up to bat. Like I said, this is the lineup. This is where you want it to be if you're a Winterset. So this will be really interesting to see how this shakes out here.
Young with Bryn Acton on deck. And Young, looks like maybe a gust of wind knocked some dirt into her eyes. She kind of wipes it out with the batting glove and then blinks a couple of times, looks to be ready to go. She saw that one, hits it up, and Elsbecker will be called off by Lara. Couple of quick at-bats, and the out recorded by the right fielder, one down, and that's a huge sigh of relief for Fort Dodge.
Yeah, it is. Another thing I just noticed, Fort Dodge's main student leader that was leading their student section, he just got kicked out. So they've lost their student leader here for the student section. Winterset got to get loud here. Big moment here. One out, runner on first.
Acton with Doster setting up outside, and she tattoos that one to the gap in right center. Nobody's going to hold up Olsen as she trots in, and that was closer than we thought it would be.
Oh, my gosh.
But Olsen ends up at third.
McCaleb almost turned. It's like you said, she was almost out.
Fantastic job by the outfielder. Quickly get that ball back in play. And I think part of the reason that was closer was Olsen saw where that was thrown and said, I need to hustle, but there's not going to be a play here, and nearly got gunned from right center field.
Well, so Soderberg is going to come on and run, and now you got Neela Applegate, who I think has been pretty quiet today for the most part. So got to get her going here if you're Winterset, but this is the best opportunity Winterset has had in a while.
Leads the team in batting average, although as you mentioned, that's gone down. She's 0 for 4 in the contest. A strikeout, I beg your pardon, 0 for 3. She did reach on an error, but struck out, flew out to the left fielder. That was the one that Tooney caught up with in foul territory with a runner on second. And then also popping up to McCaleb. So expect her to try to hit this to the left side. Runners on the corners. Timeout taken.
Neela's
and we'll step back and do it again. Lucy Porter, a sophomore, the biggest of moments. Her squad deadlocked at 4 with 10 innings we've reached, and right now the Huskies cheering squad is switched places with Fort Dodge as they're starting to make some noise.
Porter jammed her just a little bit. Neela saw the green light and just got jammed a little late on it.
0-1 the count. Porter comes home with it. Popped up, and does this have enough to score the runner from third? Underneath it is Elsbecker. She'll make a throw to the plate. Not in time. Coming across to score is McKenna Olsen, and you can consider that Applegate's best out of the season. She picks up the RBI. 2 down.
Coach Adams checked on third because she did not think that the runner came home. Runner did come home. Soderberg did come home, but she wanted to throw back and make sure that they tagged third just in case. She did, in fact, take off at the right time.
Yeah, so we have a situation with Breeding coming up. Now, not the biggest of deals, but I'm a little surprised that the runner at first, seeing the throw going home, didn't go second. But the last thing you want to do is find out you're running to second and they cut off that throw and end up getting you out before your teammate can score. Upstairs is the offering to Breeding. 1-0 the count.
It's a big at-bat here for Molly. Didn't have the at-bat that she wanted to see last time out. Kind of got frustrated. This is a big opportunity here to extend this inning. 1 run doesn't seem safe here.
Soderberg at first. She is an IMT insurance pinch runner. This is hit out to the outfield, and it's going to drop. Soderberg rounding third. They will send her home. She slides in safe. Soderberg comes all the way over from first. And again, an interesting situation for Breeding. It's an RBI single where she gets 1, the runner gets 3, but in a situation with 2 out, she's off on contact. And at this point, if you're Breeding, you say, well, all I was worried about is getting that second run. Yeah, we'd love a third, but more important to make sure I don't get hung up. Hung up was the center fielder.
Awkward spot.
Elsbecker.
Corcoran said, get on your horse.
runs to the fence there and then gets short-armed as at one point it's almost like she ran too close to the ball, wanting it a little bit further away. And as you pointed out, that wind has been moving from left to right, and that certainly looked like it affected the tail end of that hit, and it ends up being a RBI single for Breeding.
It's just wild. I mean, there's no quit in this Husky team. I mean, you're playing a team in Fort Dodge that a lot of this team has been to the 5A state title game. They come down to class, they're thinking, oh, this should be good. I mean, we should easily get there. But this Husky team that was supposed to be in a rebuilding year is now here and closing in on a possible championship berth. Molly Breeding's going to warm up.
So we reset the tail here with Bailey Acton. For us, center field is straight away due north, so that's an easterly wind that may have ended up factoring into the play as Elsbecker laid out for it. Laying off of that one was Acton. Acton asks, or excuse me, rather that's Doster asking if Acton went. She did not.
It's always interesting because technically the catcher can't ask. I mean, can't ask the umpire. It's up to the umpire, but she turned around and asked the umpire, hey, can you see if that was, did she go?
2-0 the count. Hit to the gap between the shortstop and the third baseman. And it will be a single for Acton. And now Winterset getting greedy. They know the offense that the Fort Dodge side possesses, and they would like to prevent an opportunity for the Dodgers to just score 2 to tie it up. We do have an IMT insurance substitution that I did not get in real time with all the excitement going on. Standing at second is Natalie Smith, running for Breeding. IMT provides all of our substitutions. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com.
Coach Corcoran giving Akers a little bit of pep talk.
Punched out to center field. Elsbecker will come up with this one, but the damage is done.
Here we
is
go.
It enough? 2 runs on 4 hits, 2 left on base, and we'll go to the bottom of the 10th with Fort Dodge needing at least 2. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau.
Hello, I'm Brent Johnson, an Iowa farmer from Calhoun County and president of the Iowa Farm Bureau. As proud title sponsor of the state softball tournament, the Iowa Farm Bureau is dedicated to creating a vibrant future for Iowa through partnerships and programs that help cultivate individuals with great character, a strong work ethic, and exceptional leadership skills. Making it to the state tournament is a great accomplishment that takes a lot of support. That's why we provide millions of dollars in awards, grants, and scholarships that recognize athletic and academic excellence. The well-being of Iowa students is also very important to Farm Bureau. That's why we provide concussion insurance coverage at no cost for all students in grades 9 through 12 who participate in a sanctioned sport. As just one of only 7 states to provide this coverage, it's just another way we're striving to support Iowa's outstanding young leaders. So, from the Iowa Farm Bureau, congratulations to all the players and coaches on an outstanding season, and good luck in the tournament.
Welcome back here with you live at the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy. Bottom of the 10th inning, and the visiting Winterset Huskies have scored 6 runs on 11 hits. They've stranded 7 and have committed 1 error. The Fort Dodge Dodgers 4 runs on 10 hits. They have committed a couple of errors, and they have left 10 on the bases. And interesting to note that the 9th inning was the first inning that Fort Dodge did not have a base runner. They went 1-2-3. Here's Lara looking in on Acton, and that one is going to be dropped by Akers, the catcher. Lara gets the first pitch of the at-bat to go her way. Out in front, 1-0.
Yes, you have a 2-run lead, but you cannot get complacent here if you're Winterset. Got to get a couple outs down. Not a bad part of the lineup here for Fort Dodge, though.
Certainly not, and we have a 1-1 count as Lara has kept the bat on her shoulders, lays off of that one. You could see her leaning in, thinking about it, makes the better decision and lays off.
And if you're Fort Dodge, you've gotten on base. I mean, you've done stuff before. You've gotten runners on. Just got to keep that confidence.
Well off the mark as Acton goes wide with it. Fortunate for her that she missed wide outside rather than inside. Otherwise, Lara might be at first, as what the Dodgers need right now are just base runners. You worry about everything beyond that. 3-1, and that's what they get.
Breeding is the pitcher now, I believe. Yep.
They're going to move them on over. So Molly Breeding, the junior, will come back to the circle. She started the game, pitched in the middle of the game, and she hopes can finish it off for the Huskies.
Yeah, Cork wasn't too happy in the dugout over there, but that's why you warm up Molly. I mean, you've had runners on first before, not uncharted territory by any means, but yeah, you got to hunker down here.
Normally the games maybe an inning and a half apart. Certainly not the case as this one. Well, if you count innings played, maybe it's actually closer than that, but the game over on the other field, we'll check in that on a moment.
I don't even want to know what inning they're in.
Coming in is Breeding, and that means we've got another IMT insurance substitution. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com. And IMT getting their money's worth when they are in on the Winterset games, because as we've talked about, Acton and Breeding, it's a great luxury to have that not only do you have, there are teams that have 2 or 3 pitchers that they trust, that they rely on, but they basically are saying, we're going to ask you to go the whole way. We're not going to throw you in the midst of, oh, I don't know, the bottom of the 10th, there's a runner on first and nobody out type of situation. Not so with Winterset. They're willing to put either of these pitchers in any situation that might come up.
Not an easy spot here, but like I said, you've had runners on before for Fort Dodge. You can pull through here. Winterset defensively on the infield. Both infields have been phenomenal. Got to tighten up here.
At the dish is Brown. That one gets away from the catcher. So now Lara will move to second. Now, it changes things, although maybe not the way you think. If the Dodgers are going to come away and force an 11th inning or win this, Lara is going to eventually likely come around to score. But what it does is it takes away that force play.
Yep.
So right now, Brown, knowing the situation, knowing that they can't manufacture 1 run, get 2 outs, and consider themselves good, they need multiple. So how big does that RBI single from Molly Breeding look right now? But it does give her a few more options, and a swing and a miss. 1-2 the count on Brown.
Changeup. I mean, what's the saying? Pull the fishing line out or whatnot, or pull the string. That's exactly what that was. Breeding looking for a huge first out.
If Molly Breeding is a yo-yo, or she just walked the dog there, this one is hit out to the shortstop and into the glove of Neela Applegate. They will take that if you're the Huskies. Yes, the runner gets to second on the passed ball, but they get one of a coveted 3 outs. By the way, for those keeping score at home, that Muscatine Pleasant Valley game is in the bottom of the 5th, with Pleasant Valley on top 1-0.
Also, those keeping track at home, our game is 2 hours and closing in on 45 minutes long.
Breeding upstairs with it and misses, ball 1. Breeding looks in on Doster. Doster lays off that one, and for a moment her body kind of flinched, and My vantage point is blocked by the home plate umpire. I thought she was going the other way and trying to lean into it.
Yeah. And both at-bats or a couple at-bats, Winterset is behind pitching-wise. Not what you want.
Now a 3-0 count. Fantastic look from our camera out in center field, and I need to remember that sometimes if I don't have the greatest vantage point, I can take a look at it, and it's literally just about a second and a half behind, so able to pick out where those pitches go. 3-0 the count, taking the whole way, and Doster watches strike one.
It's funny, I can see Coach Corcoran over here just throughout the dugout. I mean, he's a mess. He stands up, then he sits back down. He's got his clipboard. That poor clipboard's taking a beating right now. Just trying to get his girls going from the dugout here.
This is popped up into foul territory, and it's going to be held onto by Bailey Acton. I think that breeze might have stuck its head out again, because I was sure that's a lazy fly ball that's just going to go over the fence. Acton stays with it, as you should.
You are absolutely right, Eric. That was going to be foul, and it was foul off the bat. And then that thing just carried back in. The Huskies are 1 out away from another state championship berth.
Ashlyn Wills, the sophomore, with the biggest at-bat of her young career. Runner on second, and she takes a look at strike one down Broadway.
That was the pitch right there, too, for Wills, and I know she's looking at it, and she says, I got to be patient, but that was the pitch right there.
We'll see how Breeding comes back. This is hit well to left field. Darling will get underneath it, squeezes it, holds on.
Unbelievable.
And a 6-4 victory for Winterset in 10 innings. And that is going to do it for the Dodgers. 4 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors committed, and they leave 11 in the contest. Winterset more efficient, 6 runs on 11 hits, 1 error committed, and 7 left on base. So for these two teams, they'll both play again. For Fort Dodge, they'll move on to the third place game tomorrow, back here at 6 o'clock. They'll take on either North Scott or Norwalk, and Winterset, the 7 seed, moves on by a score of 6-4. They will play in the championship tomorrow night at 7:30.
Who said it was a rebuilding year?
That is going to do it for ourselves. We appreciate you tuning in. We've got to quickly flip around as we've got to see who will face Winterset. Will it be North Scott? Will it be Norwalk? We'll find out here in just a bit. For myself, for Aaron Bandy, our camera operator, Randy Nielsen, our engineer and producer, and Blake Walker, our color commentator. My name is Eric Zamora, and one final time in Class 4A semifinal action. It took 10 innings. The Winterset Huskies advance past the Fort Dodge Dodgers 6-4. You've been watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.